Chapter 637. Deep Abyss. Ha ha. Isn't this the master of sleep who has always loved to sleep? It seems like you weren't sleeping in the abyss, so why did you come out? Were you killed by those small living beings? A bunch of evil gods gathered there to discuss a plan. Suddenly, the abyss shook, and they didn't expect Master of Sleep to walk out. He didn't even need to think. He was sure that this person was killed by living beings. What are you laughing at? Master of Sleep scoffed coldly. He was one of the 13 evil gods, and his status was higher than all of them. But very quickly, he noticed a problem. What are you all doing here? As an evil god, you are hiding in the abyss. Did something happen? Which evil god was willing to stay in the abyss? They definitely faced trouble. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened. As expected, Master of Sleep noticed that their expressions weren't right and their movements were a little sluggish. It was obvious that he guessed correctly. Thinking back to what happened just now, he was filled with anger. As an evil god, he was actually swallowed by living beings. He had lost all his face. We like to stay in the abyss. What does that have to do with you? Some evil gods raged. They were all in the abyss, so what was there to be afraid of? Anyway, they could revive even if they died. Master of Sleep was too lazy to say anything to them. He felt more solemn. The development of the matter was a little confusing to him. Who was that person? What happened during this period of time? He had to find out, otherwise, it wouldn't be a good thing for him. City of Hope. Sect Leader Lin, are we really moving away? Mo Fu asked. He was reluctant. This was his home, and now he had to leave. Just thinking about it made his tears flow down. What do you think? Lin Fan asked. If not for his help, City of Hope would have been wiped out by the evil gods. As for whether or not the evil god behind them would appear to save them, that was hard to say. At least until now, he didn't know who the evil god behind them was. All of you staying here will affect my performance. Don't worry, as long as I don't die, I will chase away the evil gods in your world. When the time comes, I will return you a beautiful world. He was prepared to fight to the death with the evil gods. It was a waste of time to search slowly. If he made some commotion, he might be able to attract the evil god. The key was that he had to be careful of the top 10 evil gods. Those fellows were indeed strong, especially Evil God Postline, who was terrifyingly strong. With his current strength, he naturally wasn't his match. But it didn't matter. He had the small support system, and after a period of time, would he still be able to beat him? Mo Fu thought about it for a long time. He was reluctant to part with her, but he knew that if there wasn't a need, Sect Leader Lin definitely wouldn't tell him all this. Okay, since that is the case, then I will listen to Sect Leader Lin's arrangements. Mo Fu nodded and then said sincerely, Sect Leader Lin, I will leave this place to you. Lin Fan patted Mo Fu's shoulder. Don't worry, I won't disappoint you. However, for some unknown reason, Mo Fu panicked and felt like something bad was about to happen. However, he quickly shook off this thought. How could this be? He must be thinking too much. How could such a thing happen? Then, are the other cities going to be moved away too? Mo Fu asked. Lin Fan nodded. Yeah, I will move all of you away, and then you will follow me to the other cities. You will talk to those people. They won't be of any use if they stay here. They will just be toys for the evil gods to play with when they are bored. Why don't we find a good place to stay? All right, don't bring away anything related to evil gods. He didn't want the evil gods to find a medium and descend there. I understand. Although he felt that Sect Leader Lin was too direct, he was speaking the truth. They wouldn't be of any help if they stayed here. They were really toys that the evil gods played with when they were bored. Then, let's start. Dragging this out is just a waste of time. Although Lin Fan was someone who would fight, he definitely wouldn't hesitate. Evil gods were so cowardly. Sometimes just thinking about it was infuriating. They were already evil gods, so why couldn't they just come out to fight? Maybe they would treat them seriously. Alliance. During the day, the Alliance City was really busy. Friends, couples, fathers, and sons enjoyed the peace. They strolled the streets leisurely and enjoyed the beautiful day. City M, statue area. A guy wearing a hat and carrying a backpack slowly stood in front of the statue. He looked no different from a normal person, but he felt a little weird. But the people around didn't care about him at all. After all, there were so many people. Who would care about who he was or whether or not he was weird? The guy lowered his head and sat below the statue. People walked to and fro. Even if some people noticed this guy, they didn't think too much. They just felt that this guy was a little weird. Why was he wearing a hat on such a hot day? Who knew how long passed? The guy raised his head. His eyes that were covered by the hat were revealed. His eyes were wrapped in black mist, and his expression was really vicious. It was obvious that he was infected by the evil gods. The guy took out a button from his pocket. He opened his arms and laughed out loud. He pressed down with his thumb. How long? An astonishing roar erupted. The power of the bomb destroyed everything around. Even the statue there was instantly broken into pieces and turned to dust. The strength of the explosion wasn't small. Dust flew up, and the surrounding buildings were struck. The walls cracked, and the glass shattered. It instantly caused huge panic. Not only in City M, but the other cities were also attacked. This caused the Alliance, which had already calmed down, to be in chaos once more. At the monitoring center of the Alliance headquarters, the alarm rang out. All the workers were shocked, and they quickly got to work. They were a little stunned. What happened? Why were there so many alarms going off at the same time? Could it be that the rich lands had invaded them? Yin Kuan, Island Headland Song, and the others hurried over. What happened? Yin Kuan asked nervously. He was so far away and could hear the alarm from the monitoring center. His heart turned cold, and then he panicked. Was it sect leader Lin who called him? But that was impossible. Sect leader Lin had no reason to attack the Alliance. Very quickly, Yin Kuan came to the monitoring center and said hurriedly, "Quick, let me see what happened." Yes. The worker started to investigate. Not long later, the scenes of what happened appeared on the screen. This is what happened in City M at that time. The worker said. Yin Kuan's eyes locked onto the screen. The scenes were normal, but a guy sitting next to the statue attracted his attention. He wore a hat, and it was pressed really low. One look, and one knew that there was a problem. As expected, the man on the screen took out a remote control and pressed it hard. The scene shook and then turned black. Yin Kuan, someone is purposely destroying it. Island Headland Song said solemnly. He didn't think about anything else. Not good. Yin Kuan thought about it and then exclaimed, "That person detonated the statue that sect leader Lin gave him. He is destroying it." Island Headland Song was shocked, and his expression changed. How is that possible? Why is he doing that? Yin Kuan said, "Maybe someone in the Alliance is hoping for such a thing to happen. The statues here were sent over by sect leader Lin to block those mysterious things. When the statues were here, those mysterious things didn't appear anymore. Now that these people were purposely destroying the statues, it was obvious that it was because of that. Lansong, I think that something huge is about to happen. Quick, let the cities that haven't been destroyed protect the statues and don't allow anyone to get close. Those cities that have been destroyed, tell the people to prepare enough food and hide in their homes. No matter what happens, don't come out. I will head to rich land to find sect leader Lin." Yin Kuan sensed that something huge was about to happen and didn't dare to hesitate. If this continued and something huge happened, then there would be no turning back. Island Headland Song and the others looked at one another and gave orders. Instantly, the various platforms broadcasted the latest news from the Alliance headquarters. In just a short hour, everyone panicked. All the cities were panicking. Many people surged into the supermarkets and markets to buy large amounts of food. There were even people who took the chance to commit crimes. Even the Alliance headquarters didn't expect such a thing to happen. But no matter what, they had to maintain law and order. If they allowed these people to continue causing trouble, maybe before those monsters even arrived, the Alliance would be in chaos. "You city." Yin Kuan hurried into the city and came to the entrance of Lin Manor. "Guys, I'm Alliance Yin Kuan, and I need to meet sect leader Lin. Please inform him." The guard said, "My young master has been out for a period of time, and I don't know when he will be back." Ah! Yin Kuan was stunned, and his heart was burning. At such a crucial moment, why wasn't sect leader Lin in the manor? Yin Kuan didn't know what to do. At that moment, Lin Wani returned from outside, and when he saw Yin Kuan, he frowned. "Why are you here?" "Towards the Alliance. No matter what." Lin Wani wouldn't forgive them. But to Lin Wani, the current situation was the best. Without war, there would be no death. Those people at the border cities didn't die for nothing. Old Master Lin, I came to find young Master Lin. Something huge happened at the Alliance, and the statues he gave us were destroyed. Those monsters will probably appear in a short while. When that happens, numerous innocent people will lose their lives. So I hope that young Master Lin can help. Otherwise, we won't be able to block it all. Yin Kuan had no choice and could only place his hopes on Lin Fan. Chapter 638. Lin Fan looked at Yin Kuan. If Yin Kuan was Commander Ji, he would have scolded him. Only the Alliance people were people, but the people of rich land weren't. But Yin Kuan was Yin Kuan and Ji was Ji. Although Hell Mountain joined in the invasion of rich land, they weren't the main members. They only helped out in terms of experts. Fanner isn't in the manor. If you want to find him, you'll need some time. Even if you let me find him, I won't be able to. Lin Wani said. He didn't make things difficult for him. Some things had to be prioritized. What should I do? Yin Kuan was really anxious. He rubbed his hands and frowned. He walked left and right like he was thinking about something. Suddenly, a ripple came from the distance, and in the distant dimension, a massive object appeared. Upon closer inspection, it was a city. When Yin Kuan sensed that aura, he was delighted. I am back. He didn't expect the heavens to be on his side. He was thinking about where Sect Leader Lin was. Not long later, he appeared. One had to say that he was really lucky. In the distance, Mo Fu, you can place your city of hope here. You can let the people head to City Lin Manor to find my father for help. Don't go to the mountain over there. They're evil god servants that I am raising there. Lin Fan said. Although they couldn't enter, he had to tell them in case they were frightened. Mo Fu was shocked. It was obvious that he didn't expect Sect Leader Lin to raise evil god servants. Normal people wouldn't be able to get used to it. Okay, follow me to find the other 11 cities and tell them to move away. It is too dangerous there, and there is no point in staying there. Lin Fan wasn't prepared to let them stay in evil god world. There was really no need. What could they use to fight the evil gods? Even if they used their lives to play, they would just be food for the evil gods. They wouldn't be able to cause much trouble. Sect Leader Lin. Yin Kuan's voice spread out from the distance. Lin Fan looked over and was confused. Why didn't he stay in the Alliance and come here? At the same time, he noticed that Yin Kuan was panicking. What happened? Lin Fan asked. Yin Kuan quickly walked in front of Lin Fan. Sect Leader Lin, no matter what, you have to help the Alliance. The statues you gave are destroyed. Those monsters probably targeted the Alliance and wanted to attack them. Destroyed? Lin Fan was stunned. After he asked someone to send the statues over, he didn't bother too much about it. He then tried to sense it, and indeed, he couldn't contact those statues. It seemed like it had really been destroyed by someone. But who could it be? It was hard to understand. Yeah, they're all purposeful destruction, and all at the same time. Yin Kuan said. What he was most afraid of was purposeful destruction. This meant that the other party was prepared. After destroying the statue, the next step was naturally to attack. How did this happen? Which evil god remembered your alliance? Lin Fan thought about it. He really didn't expect it. Was it the evil god that controlled Black Mountain? But thinking about it, it was impossible. If he had the ability, he wouldn't have chosen a remote place to descend the Black Mountain. Sect Leader Lin, the situation is a little urgent. Please follow me to the Alliance to take a look. During the time I left, maybe something happened there. Yin Kuan said. Lin Fan nodded. Mo Fu, follow me. The three of them headed towards the Alliance. In the Alliance, there was chaos in the city where the statue was destroyed. Not long after Yin Kuan sent out the notice, it began. Some infected people walked onto the streets and exploded in the middle, forming an evil god tunnel. Black mist surged out from the tunnel and spread in all directions. Such a situation couldn't be stopped, and one could only look on as it happened. When Island Head Lansong learned of this, his heart was dripping blood. Damn, what was going on? They had just controlled the Alliance for half a year, and so many things actually happened. This was just too much of a scam. On the streets, The people who didn't escape in time were covered by the black mist. It surged into their mouths and noses. To normal people, naturally, they couldn't block it and were instantly possessed by the black mist. A loving couple hugged each other, but not long after, their bodies began to tremble. Then, their eyes turned bloodshot, and their expressions became ferocious. They picked up the cleaver beside them and started to slash one another. The strong Alliance people frowned. They sensed a terrifying power from the black mist. It was a terrifying power that could affect their bodies. Each city's black mist had its own negative effects. The people hiding in their houses weren't affected at all. Speaking of which, it was weird. The black mist could seep in from the cracks of the door, but the black mist didn't. It just floated to the side. In the end, we were still a step too late. When Yin Kun brought Lin Fan and the others back to the Alliance. Even if they didn't reach the sky above those cities, they could sense the thick, evil god aura. That is a little too quick. Lin Fan frowned. Based on what Yin Kun said, only a few hours had passed, and it actually became like this. It seemed like they were really prepared. As long as the statue was destroyed, they would start to invade. But the key was, how did the evil gods do it? City. There is something wrong with the black mist. Lin Fan said. If it was evil god aura, logically speaking, it would spread outwards. But this black mist wrapped around the entire city and didn't seep out or dissipate. This is the evil god domain. Mo Fu took a look and then said, Evil god domain is different from evil god aura. Evil god aura changes the entire environment, while the domain changes an area into his territory. Numerous evil god servants will appear, and they will become really strong under the domain. Moreover, it will be hard to chase them away. Maybe we can only head in and find the domain core to destroy it to recover. Mo Fu knew what it was, but he wasn't sure whether or not that was the only way to solve the problem. Lin Fan touched his chin and thought about it. If that is the case, then we can only head in and take a look. Sec Leader Lin, thank you so much. Yin Kun was grateful. He didn't know what to say. He was so touched that he was about to cry. The Alliance faced so many problems, and Sec Leader Lin helped them without any requests. That was something that he didn't expect. Calm down. Lin Fan raised his hand and didn't care about this at all. He didn't even feel like he was helping. Instead, Yin Kun's weakness made him feel really good. Go! Instantly, 3 people entered City, and the scenes in front of them changed. The buildings didn't change at all, and the only change was that the surroundings were a little dark. At the same time, the visibility in front of them was really low. Pata! Lin Fan stepped on a corpse. He lowered his head and saw that it was dead. It looked really terrifying, like it had suffered a huge blow. These evil gods are so cruel. I never attack normal people, but these people don't care. He was really uncomfortable with the evil gods' cruel actions. Sec Leader Lin, I can sense that there are many normal people hiding in their homes. They are temporarily safe. As long as we have a way to chase away the black mist, then everything will be fine. Yin Kun said. Last time, you said that the Alliance faced such a situation and they retreated on their own? Lin Fan asked. Yin Kun nodded. Yes, after the black mist covered, it was the same as now. When we had no choice, it retreated on its own. Till now, we still don't know what happened. Lin Fan's thoughts were really simple. Even in this current situation, would it retreat on its own? Just as Lin Fan was thinking about all this, there was movement around. Dong, dong, dong. The sound got closer and closer, and it was really dense. They were probably moving really quickly. Suddenly, a black shadow pounced out from the black mist. It was really quick, and a sharp claw slashed through the black mist. The black claw shone with a black light, and the dimension shook. What is that? Lin Fan frowned and grabbed towards that thing. He didn't expect it to be a 2-headed leopard servant. Its body wasn't big, and it was the size of tiger. But he couldn't underestimate it. It actually had Tao Realm Stage 2 strength. Evil god servants really couldn't be underestimated. When normal Tao Realm experts faced these things and their senses were affected, it was easy for them to succeed in sneak attacks. So what if they were a realm higher? If they were careless, they would end up in a tragic state. Yin Kun, these things are dangerous. If experts below Tao realm come here, they will become food for these evil god servants. Lin Fan said. Sect leader Lin, when we first faced the black mist, many alliance experts died inside. Yin Kuan said. Lin Fan looked at the struggling, evil god servant. Such trash didn't even have the right to enter his mouth. With a pung, power surged and the two-headed evil god servant exploded. Mo Fu was terrified. The places that were covered by evil gods were just too terrifying. If their city of hope faced such a thing, who knew how many people would die? Their strength came from evil gods. Although they could raise their strength to a high realm in a short time, it was all fake. Without the help of evil gods, they were nothing. Moreover, if they used too much strength, they would be infected by evil god energy. To them, if they continued on this path, the outcome wouldn't be good. Along the way, they met many evil god servants. They appeared in front of them from all directions. Luckily, Lin Fan and Yin Kuan were strong enough. Facing these things, they were able to suppress them. But what Lin Fan didn't expect was that there was actually an old-era ruler hidden in this place. This was something he didn't expect. Normal old-era rulers were around Tao Realm Stage 6 or Stage 7. Yin Kuan's face became darker and darker. The stronger the monsters they faced, the more he felt that the alliance was in trouble. Chapter 639. Sect Leader Lin, why do you think these people are targeting the alliance? The alliance isn't the alliance of the past. Yin Kuan felt really bad. There were so many problems, so what could he do? Under their management, the alliance didn't fight with the world. They didn't offend others and didn't have any intentions of invading. They were as peaceful as little kids. But even then, people were still targeting them. How annoying, how annoying, how annoying. The reason is simple. They are weak and easy to offend. Lin Fan said. Yin Kuan was stunned as he looked at Lin Fan. He didn't react at all. He was so direct and didn't know what he meant. It stabbed his heart. But he knew that Sect Leader Lin was speaking the truth. If this was the alliance in the past, naturally they were strong. They had many experts and 9-star generals. But after the star-level energy exploded, many died and many were crippled. Yin Kuan knew his place and didn't continue to ask in case he suffered an even bigger blow. He wouldn't be able to handle that. At that moment, Lin Fan sensed that the black mist in the distance was really thick. Normal people couldn't sense it, but the darkness god domain in his body was really sensitive to it. Head there, the aura there is a little thick. He pointed forwards. Mo Fu and Yin Kuan raised their heads and looked forwards helplessly. They couldn't see what was in the distance. The visibility of the black mist was just too low. Even if their cultivations were decent, it was the same. The black mist seemed to be able to block their vision. Yin Kuan looked around and noticed that there were traces of living people in many shops. He couldn't help but shout, "All of you hide and don't come out. The Alliance headquarters is dealing with this matter. Anyone who tries to cause trouble will be severely punished after this matter ends. The guy in the shop, you better stop. Otherwise, once this matter is solved, you will be the first one I will find." In a shop not far away, a man was violently assaulting a woman. He took off his pants halfway and was terrified by Yin Kuan's words. He hurriedly wore his pants without any awkwardness. He then squatted to the side and didn't dare to do anything. At such a time, when one was covered in despair, it was easy to draw out the darkness in one's heart. But as long as one had a bit of hope, one could suppress that darkness and keep one's rationality. Gradually, as Lin Fan got closer and closer, there were more and more evil god servants. At the start, he would only meet one after a period of time. But now, he would meet several with each step he took. Luckily, the evil god servants didn't charge in, otherwise, the people in the city would become their food. Lin Fan said. Yin Kuan said, "This is a blessing in misfortune." There seemed to be a pair of eyes watching them from within the black fog. Lin Fan and the others could feel that enraged gaze locked onto them. It was as though there was some deep hatred between them. Not long after, they stopped and saw a figure standing motionlessly in front of them. The figure's back was facing them, so they couldn't see what he looked like. "You should be the one who caused this." Lin Fan, said slowly. At the same time, he found it weird. Was this an evil god? In his memory, there was only one evil god that looked like a human, but that was only the outline. However, the one in front of him looked like a real human. The figure did not move. He was like a statue. Yin Kuan couldn't help but holler in rage. Damn, the Alliance didn't offend you, so why did you do that? You even dragged so many innocent people in. If you have the ability, then come at us. Suddenly, a dark and sinister laugh spread out. Kakik, you don't recognize me anymore? The person opened his mouth and then turned around to face Lin Fan and the others. It's you. When Yin Kuan saw that face, his expression changed rapidly. He recognized who the person in front of him was, but he didn't expect it to be him. Pa pa pa. Amazing. You really are amazing. Lin Fan clapped calmly. To live, you acted like a fool. It has only been half a year, and not only did you not improve, you even joined the evil gods. You really are capable. Commander G. Shut up. G hollered in rage. His voice was sharp and it turned into sound waves that spread in all directions. You forced me to do this. If not for you, I wouldn't be in such a situation. But I have to say that I really have to thank you. If not for you, I wouldn't have had my current achievements. Embrace the abyss and become an evil god. Revenge, evil god. I am taking revenge on you. G's gaze towards Lin Fan was filled with hatred and rage. That was a hatred that would never be resolved. Embrace the abyss? You didn't want to be a good person, but chose to be a monster. You really are skilled. If you really had balls, you shouldn't have killed Zhu Daoshan and should have fought me to the death. But you didn't. Looking at how you acted dumb, I really want to know what would happen to you. But looking at you now, I am really disappointed. Is this the answer you gave me? Lin Fan was filled with regret. He was really disappointed in G. He thought that he would work hard to raise his cultivation. Who knew that he would join the evil gods? What a pitiful existence. Damn, do you know how big a price I have to pay for this? G hollered. The evil god aura around his body became really unstable, like he was on the verge of going berserk. Lin Fan smiled. Don't be so pessimistic. It is like I am bullying you. When the Alliance attacked us, you didn't think about the consequences, right? Look at Yin Kuan. He is such a peaceful person. He developed the Alliance peacefully and is much better than you. Yin Kuan was humble and felt a little embarrassed by Lin Fan's praise. He thought about something and stared at G in rage. G, I treated you as a hero in the past, but I didn't expect you to be so vicious to drag innocent people into danger. No matter what, you were once the commander of the Alliance. Are you really so vicious? You shut up too. G raged. All of you traitors of the Alliance deserve to die. He brought endless disasters to the Alliance, but all of you accepted his protection and forgot about the hatred in the past. Those who died can't rest in peace. Yin Kuan retorted, you were the one who caused everything that happened in the Alliance. There were those who wanted peace and wanted to build ties with rich land to develop together. But all of you rejected them and even treated them as outsiders. If you did what I did, you would still be the commander, and the relationship between the Alliance and rich land would be friendly. Both sides would work together and coexist peacefully. Lin Fan nodded. Yeah, Yin Kuan is right. No one likes war. Your Alliance's choice from the start was wrong. If we really got along peacefully, naturally, the outcome would be different. The two of them echoed each other, and it made G furious. On the other hand, Mo Fu's expression was solemn. He had dealt with evil gods for a long time and naturally noticed that their situation wasn't so simple. A human turning into an evil god? He felt that the possibility was low. That shouldn't be possible, right? But since Lin Fan said that he had become a vengeance evil god, then naturally, it wouldn't be fake. Gee, let's not talk about anything else. What do you want now? Even if you become an evil god, with your strength, you can't do much. Especially now that you are in front of me, it seems like you can't escape. Lin Fan said, Escape? Why do I have to escape? I am already an evil god, and I fear nothing. I just wanted to kill you, but the Alliance has disappointed me. You see peace in this city, but the other cities covered by evil gods aren't so safe. So what if I hide in my room? The battle between evil gods and all of you officially begins now. G's tone was dark and sunken. He then smiled. His smile was so terrifying that it sent a chill down one's spine. Yin Kuan's expression became really ugly. Hearing what he said, the other cities were probably going to be wiped out. Sect Leader Lin, you really have to help us. Yin Kuan was about to cry. He was really frightened by what Ji said. If that was the case, the alliance would suffer heavy losses. He pitied Yin Kuan's situation, but he wasn't omnipotent. He could save this city, but what about the other cities? There's no point in talking too much. Deal with this and head to the next city. Lin Fan didn't want to say more. If he continued, he would just be delaying time. Ji mixed with evil gods, that was his choice. He would just kill them. Pong! Instantly. Lin Fan disappeared from the spot and appeared in front of Ji. So what if you become an evil god? With your current strength, you are just a small existence. Ji's expression was calm, and he didn't panic at all. Lin Fan, I didn't appear to fight you, and I know that I am not your match. But remember, if other evil gods don't find you, I will fight you to the death. Ha ha! Ji, who was slowly going mad, didn't fear anything. His body broke down, and he self-destructed. He disappeared in front of Lin Fan. Shortly after, the black mist that covered the city retreated like it was being sucked in. It is gone. Yin Kuan was delighted. The black mist disappeared, which meant that there was nothing left. But when he thought about the situation in the other cities, his expression turned bitter. This fellow, Lin Fan, was helpless. He was always so happy. Who knew where he learned that from? He finally met someone he knew and thought that it would be fun. But who knew that he didn't even have the courage to fight? It was gone just like that. Fight me to the death. How much courage did one have to say such words? He had to praise him, as expected from the commander. He had the courage to act like a fool, and also the courage to fight to the death. He was indeed a talent. Let's go to the next city, Lin Fan said. Yin Kuan couldn't wait any longer. He really wanted to cry at what he was going through. Damn, who did the alliance offend? He was so innocent, okay? Chapter 640. The Alliance cities were invaded by evil gods, and normal civilians were hurt. He felt pained about that, but that was it. After all, this was the Alliance's own matter. All he could do was help a little. As for what happened, that would depend on their luck. We are finished. When Yin Kuan arrived in another city, he sensed a thick blood stench spreading out. His face turned pale on the spot. It was so white that it was a little scary. Lin Fan patted Yin Kuan's shoulder and consoled. Be mentally prepared. The outcome might be tragic. Yeah. Yin Kuan nodded his head with much difficulty. His heart turned cold, and he cursed in his heart. That damn Ji, did he have to be so vicious? The aura there's a little thick, it should be there. Lin Fan's eyes locked onto a corner of the city. It was really because of the darkness god domain that he could see through the black mist. He then brought Yin Kuan to charge in. Not long later, a scream reverberated throughout the area. Under Yin Kuan and Mo Fu's stunned gazes, he swallowed the evil god in one mouth. The scenes were so cruel and overbearing that one didn't dare to look at him directly. Don't look at me like that. This is just a very normal thing. I don't think you guys will tell anyone about it, right? Lin Fan touched the corner of his mouth, as though he was reminiscing about it. His face carried a faint smile, but that smile made Yin Kuan shudder. He felt like he had seen something he shouldn't have. He was terrified. It was a little terrifying. No, definitely not. I didn't see anything. Yin Kuan shook his head and denied. Along with the evil god's death, the black mist that covered the city slowly disappeared. A tragic scene appeared. Many buildings were turned to ruins and tall buildings collapsed. One could see that blood dyed the ruins, but there were no corpses. It was obvious that the evil god's servants swallowed them. Many people were infected by the evil god and lost their sense of self. They became the evil god's servants that only knew madness. Lin Fan said slowly, Yin Kuan, it is better to be decisive. I won't do anything. You do it yourself. This jerk. Yin Kuan looked at the scenes in the city, and his heart was dripping blood. He didn't expect so many people to die. This was a huge blow to the Alliance, and he couldn't take it. Sect Leader Lin, is there any hope of saving these infected people? Yin Kuan asked. Lin Fan looked towards Mo Fu. Mo Fu shook his head. That's impossible. Their minds have been taken away by the evil gods, and they have become their toys. There is no way to save them. The only way is to kill them all. If not, if they leave, it will affect the outside world even more. Yin Kuan thought for a long time and let out a long sigh. He really didn't dare to imagine what would happen to those cities. He could only endure the pain and take action. A destructive force shrouded the area. Bang! Bang! The infected wandering in the city were crushed by the power and instantly exploded. Help! Suddenly, cries for help came from within the city. When Yin Kuan heard this voice, he was delighted. There were still people alive. He covered the entire city with his perception and found that many people were still alive. To him, this was hope. As long as someone was alive, there was hope. Lin Fan accompanied Yin Kuan to clear out the cities. Some evil gods might have received news and left when they arrived. To the evil gods, it was easy for them to kill more than half of the living beings in a city. But some cities were slightly better. Many retired Alliance experts lived there. They killed some evil god servants and protected a large number of survivors. Sect leader Lin, looking at these things makes me think about how evil gods invaded our era. But we weren't as lucky as them. Mo Fu exclaimed. When their world was invaded by evil gods, they really couldn't fight back at all. They really had no way to resist. Unarmed and defenseless, they could only howl in pain under the terrifying might of the evil god. Yin Kuan, before the evil gods are dealt with, it is best if you send experts to defend the statues I gave you. If they continue to be destroyed, then the alliance will be torn apart because of the evil gods. Lin Fan said. What else could he say to such a situation? He had nothing to say. Unlike rich land, each city had disciples defending it. It was impossible to destroy the statues. Moreover, he paid attention to those statues. As long as there was movement, he would sense it right away. Yin Kuan nodded. Sect leader Lin, no matter what, I am really thankful. If not for your help, no one in these cities would be able to survive. I didn't expect Ji to actually do such a thing. Not to mention Yin Kuan, even Lin Fan didn't expect it. Ji was a little mad. He could understand if he attacked rich land, but he actually attacked the Alliance civilians. That was a little confusing. Didn't they say that they could sacrifice everything for the Alliance? Why did they start to destroy the Alliance now? He didn't understand. It is okay, I still have things to do, so I won't say much. If you need anything, you can find me in Yu City. Lin Fan still had to bring Mo Fu to move the 12 cities away and empty out evil god world. Sect leader Lin, have a safe trip. Yin Kuan cupped his fists. The higher-ups of the Alliance headquarters changed their attitude towards Sect leader Lin due to his mediation. Maybe there would be many people who hated Lin Fan, but he believed that as long as he could suppress it, nothing would happen. But now, he had to tell the others about this. Ji's appearance made him feel bad. He had to be prepared. Deep Abyss. Kakik. After Ji revived in the Deep Abyss, he laughed arrogantly. He didn't regret what he did, and he didn't feel any regret at all. After doing all that, he actually felt a sense of joy in his heart. Lin Fan, I will play with you slowly. Ji's eyes shone coldly. When he first became an evil god, he might have regretted it. But after this matter, he realized that evil gods were really noble. They could revive in the Deep Abyss. Who else could do that? Ji didn't expect Lin Fan's strength to become so terrifying. Just as Lin Fan attacked him, he sensed that terrifying aura surging towards him. Scoff! I have already become an evil god. I have seen the path that I couldn't take in the past. Once I raise my strength, you will pay a heavy price. Ji's hatred towards Lin Fan had reached an indescribable level. Along with that, he hated the Alliance too. He felt like the Alliance betrayed him. They betrayed their efforts. Evil God Postline witnessed all of this and found it more and more interesting. But the evil gods were dying too slowly, and it didn't reach his expectations. He should have sped up their deaths. He then turned his gaze to the side. The bunch of evil gods were hiding in the Deep Abyss, and none of them headed out. That wasn't a good situation. His heart moved. The Deep Abyss shook. The expressions of those evil gods in the deep abyss changed. They sensed the fluctuations of the deep abyss. The deep abyss was roaring in rage, and this wasn't a good situation for them. Then, those evil gods reluctantly left the deep abyss. But for some evil gods, they were terrified, especially evil god Lula. He was so terrified that he didn't know what to do. If he headed out, that person would definitely find him. Then, he would cruelly eat him. Lin Fan and Mo Fu started to move. Mo Fu told the other lords about the current situation. At the same time, he told them to move the city to a world that wasn't invaded by evil gods. The process was quite smooth. Although some were reluctant, they knew that it was useless for them to fight against the evil gods. If a true evil god descended, based on their situation, it was basically a complete collapse. Sect leader Lin, I will leave this place to you. Mo Fu looked at the world that was destroyed by the evil gods and was reluctant. What they brought away was Fallen City, the last city out of the 12. The people in the city were excited and were filled with hope for the future. Although they were in a foreign world, as long as they could avoid the evil god suppression, they could go anywhere. Don't worry, in just a short while, I will return you a beautiful world. Lin Fan was confident. Evil god's existence was only temporary. Once he raised his strength, everything would end. If he revived in the abyss, then he would wipe out the abyss too. Let's see how they would survive then. Mo Fu believed Lin Fan. Maybe when one trusted someone, one would think that the other party was omnipotent. Lin Fan noticed that Mo Fu was looking at him with a worshipful gaze. He smiled happily. He liked having such a person beside him. Let's go. I will send all of you back. Lin Fan carried Fallen City and left. He returned to U City and placed them nearby. Lin Manor. Fan, what have you been running around for recently? Lin Wani asked. He had nothing to say about his kid. When he was free, he could see him all day, but when he was busy, he couldn't even see him. Father, I'm moving the 12 cities nearby. They're fighting the evil gods there, and it is like hitting a rock with an egg. Moreover, it will affect my performance, so I sent them here. Oh right, the alliance was invaded by evil gods, and they suffered heavy casualties. Ji has become an evil god, but he is still so weak. I don't know how he spent the past half a year. He didn't improve at all. Lin Fan's words were a little hurtful. Ji didn't slack off. He worked hard for half a year, and not only did he connect with the evil gods, he even became one of them. This was an improvement. Lin Wani was shocked and then exclaimed, Hayes, no matter what, Ji is a person. I didn't expect that he would fall and become one with the evil gods. Although they were enemies. But after fighting for so many years, both sides were recognized. If they weren't enemies, they might have been able to sit down and drink. Father, I will go take a look at Yongla. Lin Fan would be heading to Evil God World for a period of time. In the past, he didn't have a family and would leave without hesitation. But now he had to at least say hello. Moreover, he had to pay her a visit. This was something that every guy had to do before heading out. Chapter 641. Within the room. How long are we heading out for? Yongla asked. Lin Fan hugged her and smiled. Not long. 10 days to half a month. I'm just finding some people. There isn't much danger. Yongla didn't ask and just hoped that he was safe. To Yongla, her only regret was that she didn't give birth to a child for the Lin family. This was something that she thought about day and night. Sometimes, she really thought that it was her own problem. Husband, I heard that the Su family daughter knows you, and old ancestor Su also hopes. Lin Fan frowned and stopped her from continuing. That Su family fellow came to find you? Did he say something too much to you? If he really dared to say it, I would definitely smash his head. What Lin Fan hated the most was people telling Yongla about her infertility. No. Yongla shook her head. Fortunately, they didn't, otherwise I would teach them a lesson. Okay, time is of the essence. As they say, the night is short. Just as Lin Fan was prepared to explore the mysteries of life, old ancestor Zhao's voice spread in from outside. Sect leader Lin, I heard that you moved the 12 cities here. Are you going to do something huge? I will travel with you. When old ancestor Xiao was an insect valley. His eyelids jumped, and he felt like something was going to happen. He came to U City right away, and before he entered, he saw the cities outside. He was shocked. Great. He knew that he was going to do something huge. If he wasn't going to do something huge, would he have caused such a scene? Mother of Astrasker, why did this old man come at such a time? Don't worry about him. Let's continue. Lin Fan wanted to smash old Ancestor Zhao's head. Why didn't he look at the time? It was broad daylight. So, couldn't he come at night? Infuriating. Husband, old Ancestor Zhao definitely has something to do now. We can't do this. Let's head out. Yongle said. Lin Fan was helpless and could only wear his clothes. He smiled. Wife, wait for me to return. This time it will be really quick, 10 days to half a month. If we are lucky, maybe it won't take that long. Yongle's smile was like a flower. She was just so kind and cute. In any case, Lin Fan had already fallen in love with her. This wife was so good. She didn't cause trouble, and was even considerate. If he met someone who caused trouble, he might not be able to resist the urge to flash and ignite a QWER to kill her. Outside in the hall, old Ancestor Zhao saw Lin Fan come out and smiled. Sect Leader Lin, do you have something important to do? Humph. Lin Fan was annoyed. Of all times, why did he have to come now? Even if he came a minute later, it would have been fine. Old Ancestor Zhao was stunned. What was going on? He didn't offend him, so why was his attitude like that? Suddenly, old Ancestor Zhao smiled like he understood. So that is the case. I didn't think it through. Sect Leader Lin's essence energy leaked because you did something with Madam. But it is already over, so why are you still unhappy? Is it the second time? Sect Leader Lin, I have to tell you that young people's bodies are good, but they need to control themselves. The path of cultivation requires. All right. Don't talk to me about all this nonsense. You sure are well informed. You even know that I've moved the 12 holy cities over. Lin Fan said. Sect Leader Lin, I swear to the heavens that I really didn't know about this. I was just shocked and had a premonition, so I came to take a look. Who knew that it was really true? Old Ancestor Zhao smiled. Lin Wani passed by and nodded his head. It seemed like he couldn't blame his son. He was already working so hard, so what else could he say? When would his grandson come? He could only leave it to fate. Lin Fan was helpless. Old Ancestor Zhao's words made him not know how to reply. To hell with telepathy. Old Ancestor Zhao walked beside Lin Fan. Sect Leader Lin, we have been through thick and thin together. Tell me the truth. What are we going to do next? Should we go there to search for evil gods and flip that world upside down? With their strength, naturally they could do that. It was just that they would cause a huge commotion. Since you guessed it, then why are you asking? Lin Fan was stunned. So amazing. He didn't even say anything, and he guessed it. He had some skill. Really? Old Ancestor Zhao asked in shock. He was just saying it, but he didn't expect Sect Leader Lin to really admit it. That was a little fierce. If the people of the 12 holy cities knew what Lin Fan was doing, they would definitely beat him to death. After all, he was really causing trouble in someone else's territory, and it wasn't just any ordinary kind of trouble. To put it simply, he wanted to turn the world upside down. Don't worry about whether it is true or not. Let's go now. Are you going or not? Lin Fan said. Of course he's gone. That goes without saying. Old Ancestor Zhao replied. What a joke. How could he miss out on such a huge matter? Moreover, he urgently needed the blood pearls. Tao pattern laws had already appeared in the world, but they were scarce. He wanted them to become thicker. When that happened, experts stuck at stage 7 would be able to head to stage 8, and they would have the basic ability to fight against evil gods. If not, it would just be empty words. Let's go. Lin Fan stepped into the dimension and flew towards the ocean eye. Insect Valley. In a secret room, Valley Head stood there and looked solemnly at the piles of flesh and blood. Some of them had formed a human shape, but they were badly damaged. Some of them had mutated and their bodies were swollen. But the piece of meat in the middle was developing smoothly. It was slowly forming a human shape. There were Tao patterns wrapped around it. Not long later, a Tao pattern would be swallowed by the human-shaped meat. Monster Emperor's body is slowly becoming perfect. One drop of blood has such effects. I really shouldn't have let him grow. Valleyhead muttered to himself. He did regret it. Since Monster Emperor came to Insect Valley, he knew that some things had exceeded his expectations. But he felt that Monster Emperor's development was a little bad. He was as fat as a meatball. It had nothing to do with Marshall Path. Who knows what is going on with Monster Emperor now? Valley had wanted to know what was going on, but unfortunately, Monster Emperor seemed to have totally disappeared. Maybe he was in that so-called evil god world. Old Ancestor's return gave Valleyhead a crazy thought, but he quickly suppressed it. He felt that it was too crazy. That was the Old Ancestor, the creator of Insect Valley, the creator of bug controlling technique. His strength had reached Dao Realm Stage 9, and only the Dao pattern laws caused his cultivation to drop so much. But he wasn't someone he could deal with. A few days later, Evil God World. Sect Leader Lin. I feel like it won't be so easy for evil gods to appear. Old Ancestor Xiao said. Lin Fan frowned. He and Old Ancestor Xiao had been here for several days, and they had trampled on this world. The ground flipped, and they pierced through the abyss. The ripples spread tens of thousands of miles, and the ground cracked apart. Magma covered a large area. But that was what he did. He still didn't draw out the evil gods. Even if it isn't easy, we have to make them come out. Lin Fan said. Since he came here, he wouldn't return empty-handed. Not to mention that he was close to Stage 8. Even the Darkness God domain had evil god flesh and blood. Let's go to another place. Lin Fan said. Instantly, the two of them turned into streaks of light and disappeared. Lin Fan and Old Ancestor Xiao didn't gain anything, but from Monster Emperor, he was about to go mad. Ha! Monster Emperor laughed and slowly swallowed an evil god. Who are you, jerk? Let me go. I told you to let me go. Evil god, Lula hollered. Rage burned, but he had no ability to fight back against Monster Emperor. After he was grabbed, he was ripped apart and then sent into his mouth. Pain swept him and it pierced his heart. Jerk, you are too much. Evil god, Lula scolded. He didn't know where he went. This fellow said that as long as he left the abyss, he would be eaten. During these few days, he had been eaten 3 times. He was about to go mad from the torture. Very quickly, evil god Lula's aura disappeared. The smell is different from before. Monster Emperor muttered. The changes in his body weren't as intense as before. It was as if this evil god couldn't help him anymore. The appearance of those familiar scents made Monster Emperor even more excited. But he knew who they belonged to. They were evil gods that he couldn't offend. But he believed that as long as he had some time, he would be able to swallow those evil gods that he couldn't offend one by one. Deep Abyss. Evil god Lula revived. He stood in the deep abyss and was in a daze. It was as if his heart that had been swallowed had changed, and he didn't come back to his senses. I don't want to go out. Evil god Lula muttered. The abyss was shaking like it was rushing him to leave. Lula looked at the abyss. I really can't go out. I will die. I will die a horrible death. That living being isn't human at all. Wong. The deep abyss shook even more. Damn. Evil god Lula was furious. He left the abyss unwillingly. He felt like the abyss was sending them to their deaths. When he left the abyss, he didn't head to a fixed place. He let the abyss teleport him anywhere. No matter where he went, the outcome would be the same. So why did he need to head to a fixed place? Wong. Evil god Lula's body slowly disappeared from the abyss. He didn't care where he went. He was even too lazy to find a place to hide. It was useless as he knew where he was. There was nowhere to hide. Suddenly, a voice spread into evil god Lula's ears. Sect Leader Lin, there is an evil god here. That really frightened me. He just appeared out of nowhere. Old Ancestor Xiao was really frightened by Lula. He had an octopus head and wings on his back. A living monster appeared in the world just like that. If one said that he wasn't scared, that would be a lie. Damn living being, who is it? Evil god Lula was furious in despair. After learning that it wasn't that damn fatty, he was furious. Did he really think that anyone could offend an evil god? But when he raised his head and looked at the living being, that furious expression slowly disappeared. What replaced it was helplessness. Damn, Chapter 642. It's you. Evil god Lula raged like he had seen a ghost. He would never forget the small blood food in front of him. His loyal servant, Tiz, was killed by the other party. This hatred was etched in his heart, and it was hard for him to forget it. Kiki, I didn't expect it to be you. Evil god Lula is ranked 32nd. That is a little low, but it is okay. It is rare for me to meet an evil god. It really isn't easy. You don't know this, but we were crossing mountains and ridges, turning the world upside down. Only you took the initiative to appear in front of us. Lin Fan exclaimed. It really wasn't easy, and he was really tired. Evil god Lula didn't panic. If he met Monster Emperor, then he would have panicked. Death wasn't scary. What was scary was witnessing death and being bitten. The crisp sound spread in his mind. That was true torture. Old Ancestor Xiao said, Sect Leader Lin, how do you calculate this? It belongs to me. Lin Fan said. He needed evil god flesh and blood, and so did the blood pearl. He needed both. Rage points plus 999. Evil god Lula was furious. As a noble evil god, when had he been underestimated, especially by these small, living beings? Even in the war in the past, he wasn't afraid at all. He never showed mercy to those pitiful living beings. You're still angry. I hope that you can continue to be angry. Lin Fan said and instantly attacked. He stepped forwards and the space beneath his feet shattered into pieces. Terrifying power spread out and formed a terrifying aura. Evil god Lula flapped his wings and a terrifying storm appeared. It turned into sharp blades that swept the area. Sila. Space was ripped open by the sharp blades. At the same time, numerous tentacles broke through the air. Evil god Lula just wanted to kill Lin Fan. These damn living beings provoked him many times and even made him revive in the abyss. They had already made him lose all his face. Letting them live was an insult to the evil gods. Just at that moment, a shocking scene happened. Lin Fan's body swelled up. His body, which was originally much smaller than evil god Lula, became huge. If he had an axe, he could split open heaven and earth. What? Evil god Lula was stunned. The living being in front of him opened his mouth and swallowed the tentacle that he had attacked. Kacha! The tentacle broke. Ruth screamed. You! Evil god opened his eyes wide and was astonished. Damn, what was going on with this fellow? The taste is average. Still all right. Lin Fan said. The darkness god domain in his body started to break down his flesh and blood to obtain energy from within. This is a little fierce. Old Ancestor Xiao was tongue-tied as he looked at Lin Fan. He didn't expect Sect Leader Lin to swallow the evil god flesh and blood. How'd he do that? Evil god flesh and blood had a strong, evil nature, and to them, it was poison. There was once an expert who accidentally ate evil god's flesh and blood. In the end, his body rotted and the power he cultivated was impacted. In the end, his body exploded and he died. He wanted to remind Sect Leader Lin not to be so arrogant. But looking at the current situation, it was clear that there was no need. To evil god Lula, anyone who could swallow him was someone he feared the most. Run. He didn't think about continuing to fight with Lin Fan. He turned around and ran. He wanted to leave this place, and he definitely couldn't stay here. He was totally afraid that Monster Emperor would happen once more. You want to run? When Lin Fan saw Lula flee into the distance, he smiled in disdain. If he could still run, then he really didn't need to live anymore. Lula ripped open the dimension and moved quickly. But suddenly, he looked up and was frightened out of his wits. He saw a giant hand grabbing at him out of thin air in the dimensional space. 5 fingers ripped open the dimension. His position was right below the giant hand. Damn, why are these living beings so fierce? They are not giving me a chance to live. If someone told him that he would be devoured by these living beings before he fought them, he would definitely scoff at them. Was he dreaming or something? He actually started to speak nonsense. But now, what he was experiencing was so unbelievable. He was now forced into a corner. Pata! In an instant, evil god Lula was grabbed by the giant hand and controlled. Let me go. Lin Fan sent Lula to his mouth. He opened his mouth, and a spinning black hole appeared. No, no. Evil god Lula opened his eyes wide. Even as an evil god, at this moment he was really terrified. Damn it. What was going on with these living beings? Why did they even dare to swallow evil gods? Who was whose food? With a kacha, Lin Fan closed his mouth and swallowed evil god Lula into his stomach. The statue in the darkness god domain gave out many threads that covered Lula's body. It quickly broke him down. The statue slowly changed. His flesh and blood moved and was growing at a quick speed. It seems like I need more evil god flesh and blood, Lin Fan muttered. He needed to continue working hard. This was not enough. It was far from enough. When Lin Fan looked at old ancestor Shao, he noticed that his expression was a little off. Why are you looking at me like that? Did I become handsome? Lin Fan asked. Old ancestor Shao was shocked. Why did you swallow evil gods? Don't you feel uncomfortable? If he hadn't personally witnessed it, he definitely wouldn't have believed everything that had happened. I don't feel uncomfortable. There are many things that you don't know, so there's no need to be surprised. Let's go and continue to search for evil gods. I think they know that someone is here to find them. Let's see whether or not evil gods have the balls to fight, Lin Fan said. He was looking forward to the evil gods running out and shouting that they weren't happy. Then, a shocking battle would occur. When that happened, he would swallow as much as he wanted. Just thinking about it made him excited. Old ancestor Shao frowned and was in deep thought. What was going on? There was definitely a problem. Using their bodies to swallow evil gods was just asking to die. Did sect leader Lin have a fortuitous encounter that allowed him to swallow evil gods? That was a high possibility. Deep abyss. Evil god Lula was stunned in the abyss. He could bear with it when monster emperors swallowed him, but who knew that other living beings would swallow him? He didn't understand what was going on. Why did this happen? Were all living creatures so fierce now? Deep abyss, what is going on? Why can these living beings swallow evil gods? Evil god Lula's voice spread out in the abyss. But the abyss was still the same, and there was no reply. Damn! Lula was furious, but there was nothing he could do. Facing these terrifying fellows, he had no way to fight back at all. At that moment, the abyss shook. A bunch of evil gods appeared, and they were talking to each other. Ha ha! These stupid living beings actually dare to provoke the honor of evil gods. I swallowed one of them, and they were so terrified that they fled. Unfortunately, we didn't keep all of them here. These evil gods were pumped up, and they were in a good mood. Some small living beings actually came here to find trouble with them, and they were suppressed and swallowed. It made them understand how terrifying evil gods were. Their actions were just asking to die. When Lula heard those words, he felt really annoyed. Damn, why were the other evil gods so carefree, but when he went out, he would face these people? Instantly, Lula had an idea. Why not mix with these evil gods? The abyss didn't allow them to stay for long, and he would definitely face problems if he went out. He would mix with the other evil gods. He really didn't believe that those small living beings could swallow him among a bunch of evil gods. Lula took the initiative to talk to them. Although evil gods were proud beings, after going through all these things, Lula became much more low profile. He could take a step back, and he couldn't be arrogant anymore. After all, he had been educated so many times. How could he take it? Lin Fan and old ancestor Shao searched the world. When they faced places that they thought might hide evil gods, they would flip the land and break through the abyss to search for traces of evil gods. Destroying the foundations of a world was just too cruel. But in Lin Fan's words, without destruction, there can be no construction. He was already covered by evil god energy, so what was there to be reluctant about? Sect leader Lin, did you notice that the frequency of evil gods appearing has increased? Old ancestor Shao said. During this period of time, they had already met 2 evil gods. Although they were only second-class evil gods, it was a rare chance in the past. Chapter 643. A certain damn cave. Evil god Masaki's statue changed. With Akacha, many cracks appeared on the surface of the statue. The cracks became bigger and bigger, and pieces started to fall off. King Wutong shivered and shrunk to the side. His eyes were filled with terror. A terrifying aura spread out from the statue and covered the entire cave. King Wudong, who was within, felt a chill down his spine. Ha ha, I am coming out. Enough evil god flesh and blood to help me regenerate. A bunch of damn things. I won't let all of you off. The voice spread out from within the statue. He was really excited. Instantly, more and more pieces fell. The true appearance of the statue was revealed. It was a ball of purple flesh and blood. This ball of flesh and blood was alive. It jumped and breathed. Shortly after, it swelled up at a visible rate, like it was about to turn into a terrifying existence. Kacha! An arm tore through the flesh and grew out from within. Kacha! Another piece of flesh grew out from within. This was far from the end, and the changes continued. Postline, you conned me in the past. Today, I have returned, and I will con you back. Masaki was more arrogant now. Because he could form a body, he wasn't as careful as before. Instead, he was really arrogant. At that time, he was just a statue, and when he faced some true experts, he had no way to fight back. But it was different now. He had the ability to face danger. As Masaki got bigger and bigger, the current cave couldn't contain him anymore. Pong! The cave shattered. A ball of flesh with numerous arms appeared in the sky. If someone saw this, their face would have turned ashen white. It was just too terrifying. Shortly after, the meatball shrunk and condensed. In the end, it returned to its normal size. It was only the size of a cow. Masaki knew that it was hard to hide such a huge body and people would easily notice it. With the current situation, it wasn't the time to be noticed. King Wudong hid in a corner and shivered. He didn't dare to do anything. The feeling of regaining freedom is just too great. Masaki said slowly. He was in a good mood. If not for his mentality being good enough, he didn't know what he was relying on to last until now. He then looked towards King Wutong. Trash. You don't even have the right to be an evil god's servant. He didn't need King Wudong anymore, but he lacked lackeys, and some things were hard to do. Now he needed evil god flesh and blood. Those people from the four alliances fought with evil gods to obtain the blood pearls. They didn't have any thoughts about the corpses. He knew what kind of changes would occur when these guys obtained enough flesh pearls. Tao Realm Stage 8 and above Tao Pattern Laws all turn into a power to suppress the evil god. In particular, the three-pillar primordial gods and the ancient gods have been suppressed and had yet to appear in the world. As for first-class evil gods like them, they were also suppressed. Postline shot the Tao Pattern Laws into the abyss. Each time evil gods were killed and revived in the abyss, they would bring a portion of the Tao Pattern Laws away, until all the Tao Pattern nomological laws dissipated. Then the suppression on the evil gods would completely disappear. Postline would definitely come out to stir up trouble, and the three-pillar gods and the ancient gods would very likely reappear. A few days later, Lin Fan, an old ancestor, Xiao, had decent gains. They met many evil gods, and the frequency of them appearing was getting higher and higher. In the end, as long as they focused, they would be able to find them. Lin Fan wanted to swallow the blood pearl along with the evil god's flesh and blood. But looking at old ancestor Zhao's tragic state, he couldn't bear to do that and could only give in. Sect leader Lin, the Tao Pattern Laws and the blood pearl are quite important. Returning it to heaven and earth is beneficial to everyone. Old ancestor Xiao said, "Yeah, your words do make sense." Lin Fan agreed with what old ancestor Xiao said. Thinking about it, if the Tao Pattern Laws were thick enough, they could create more experts. Father and the others wanted to break through to Tao Realm Stage 8, and what they lacked were Tao Pattern Laws. With their strength, as long as they had Tao Pattern Laws, then Tao Realm Stage 8 wasn't difficult. Even if they reached Tao Realm Stage 9, they would just need to spend some time. Suddenly, just as they were talking, there was a loud explosion in the distance. Shortly after, the dimension shook, and one could sense it even from so far away. To be able to cause such a battle, It has to be an evil god. Old ancestor Xiao was delighted. To him, apart from meeting the top 10 evil gods, the other evil gods were in their hands, and they could easily kill them. Now that there was such a commotion, how could old ancestor Xiao not be excited? He felt like the heavens were on their side. Let's go and see which sect leader is fighting with the evil god. If we directly intercept them, that would be a little overbearing. Lin Fan felt that it was interesting. If he really snatched the evil god from the sect leader's hands, that person would go crazy. In the distance, evil god, let's mind our own business. Can we just let it go? I know that I was wrong, and I shouldn't have disturbed your sleep. Now that you sliced off my arm, it could be considered an apology. Why are you still chasing me? Old demon Wu Wei ran really quickly, and his expression was one of panic. He was killing evil gods here, and his luck was good. He killed one and found the blood pearl. He thought about it for a long while and then swallowed it. As expected, the path ahead really appeared for him. This made him really excited. He felt that this place was a treasure land, and he searched for evil gods. But evil gods were too hard to find. Apart from that time, when he was lucky, he didn't meet any more. Although this made old demon Wu Wei a little disappointed, but it was still within an acceptable range. Now that he was facing an evil god, he even wanted to die. Due to some reason, this evil god was alerted. At the start, he was really excited, and finally he met another evil god. But as both sides clashed, he suddenly realized that something was wrong. This evil god was much more terrifying than he imagined. He wasn't his match at all. After paying the price of an arm, he successfully broke free from the evil god's range. But the evil god chased closely behind, and it was too difficult for him to escape. There was even a chance that he would be caught once more. You bunch of small living beings came here and challenged the honor of the evil gods. You are asking to die. Evil god master of sleep hollered. He was furious. When he saw these living beings, he was filled with rage. Old demon Wu Wei felt that this was problematic. If this evil god continued to chase, and he couldn't think of a way to shake him off, the outcome would be catastrophic. That wasn't a joke. He might really be swallowed by him. Just at that moment, old demon Wu Wei heard a voice ahead. Which sect leader is being chased so badly by the evil god? Oh, so does old demon Wu Wei. When old demon Wu Wei heard that voice, he wasn't angry. Instead, he was delighted. He met someone he knew. Although he was teasing him, that wasn't important. With one more person, he had more hope of survival. Brother, old demon Wu Wei opened his mouth. But when he looked towards the source of the voice, his throat felt like it was blocked. He couldn't say a single word. His eyes opened wide like they were about to pop out. Oh my God! Old demon Wu Wei was stunned. He didn't expect the person to be Lin Fan. Damn it! This old man's luck is really too bad. Behind him was the evil god, and in front was Lin Fan. He felt that if he fought the evil god, he might have a chance to live. But if he fought Lin Fan, he would definitely die. Just as old demon Wu Wei was in a daze, Master of Sleep's giant body was already here. Old demon Wu Wei reacted right away and dashed to the side, hoping to escape this place. Sect Leader Lin, you are really famous. My first reaction when I see you is to run. Old Ancestor Xiao said. At the same time, he exclaimed, if not for the evil god, maybe the people from the four alliances wouldn't be able to appear in the open. They would hide in the dark, and when they heard Lin Fan's name, they would be terrified. What can we do? Who asked them to do so many guilty things? Lin Fan said, and then shouted towards the distance. Old demon Wu Wei, stop running. I won't kill you. Let the past be the past. If you run like this, you might not be able to escape from the evil god. And also, Master Sleep, you are so useless. Last time you were so fierce, so why did you chase him for so long? Master of Sleep chased old demon Wu Wei and didn't care about the people around. But when he heard that Lin Fan knew who he was, he really noticed Lin Fan. Instantly, Master of Sleep was furious. He had met an enemy. To old demon Wu Wei, he noticed that Master of Sleep didn't continue to chase him. He was delighted. As for Lin Fan's words, he didn't believe them at all. If he really did, he wouldn't even know how he died. Thus, old demon Wu Wei ran and definitely wouldn't stay here. Sect leader Lin, this is the 13th master of sleep. This is a little problematic. Old ancestor Xiao said. Lin Fan said calmly, it is okay. Although it is a little problematic, but if we work together, it won't be much of a problem. Now that the evil gods we are facing are getting higher and higher, if we don't raise our cultivation, there will be problems in the future. Old ancestor Zhao's expression was solemn. He slowly guessed some things. Last time, he was able to escape from the top evil god. Maybe he didn't rely on luck or his own strength. Maybe there was something wrong with Postline. After all, based on his cultivation at that time, when he faced such evil gods, he had no way to run at all. That was the difference in strength. It wasn't something that could be wiped out so easily. Let's deal with Master of Sleep first. We need some time, old ancestor Xiao said. At the same time, he was a little excited. Based on this speed, it wouldn't take long for him to fight the truly strong evil gods. Chapter 644. Master of Sleep didn't flee right away. Evil God's pride didn't allow him to flee in fear. Last time, Lin Fan took the chance to swallow his flesh, and it affected him greatly. This caused the Master of Sleep to panic. How could he be swallowed? That was impossible. But thinking about it, this living being's strength was just SOSO. The main thing was that he was too careless. Now that he was prepared, how could anything go wrong? Sect leader Lin, Master of Sleep's cultivation is not bad. With our current strength, it is tough to deal with him. Old ancestor Xiao understood Master of Sleep's strength and knew what his ability was. If it was Tao pattern laws returning, naturally, he wouldn't care about Master of Sleep. He could even suppress him with one move. It is you. I remember you. When the war happened, you were there. Your friends were swallowed by us, but I didn't expect you to still be alive. Master of Sleep smiled. Old ancestor Zhao's face turned cold. I will make you cry. He didn't want to recall what happened in the past. Many of his comrades were suppressed by the top 10 evil gods and lost their ability to move. As for these dogs, they were waiting below to eat up their comrades who had no way to fight back. They died tragically. His companions, which one of them wasn't someone who shocked the world, but they all died in the hands of the evil god. Ha! You small things, you don't even have Tao Realm Stage, 8 Tao pattern laws, and you want to deal with me. Even if the two of you work together, it is the same. Master of Sleep laughed out loud and didn't care about the two of them at all, but he was really wary, especially towards Lin Fan. He felt like he wasn't easy to deal with. When this fellow became big and opened his mouth, a whirlpool appeared and sucked him in. He couldn't fight back at all. All of you go and die. Feel my terrifying aura. The Master of Sleep hollered. The space around him shook and the entire area became sticky. Lin Fan had a smile on his face. So evil gods were forgetful. Did Master of Sleep forget how he died? Sect leader Lin, be careful. Old ancestor Xiao said solemnly. But at that moment, Master of Sleep crawled and rolled towards the dimension and then hollered in rage. Despicable fellow, just you wait, I will be back. What is going on? Old ancestor Zhao's eyes opened wide as he looked at those scenes. Damn it, what was the Master of Sleep doing? Why was he running for no reason? Was this still the Master of Sleep he knew? Haze, why is there such a need to act cool? Old ancestor Xiao, just watch. He is just Master of Sleep. He isn't a strong, evil god. Lin Fan said calmly. He was pretending too. He was just acting like Master of Sleep was strong, and then when he attacked, he easily suppressed him. At that time, old ancestor Zhao's mouth was agape. Unfortunately, the Master of Sleep had some skills. After saying that, he wanted to flee. How could Lin Fan let him flee? If not, he would have missed out on an evil god. Sect leader Lin, old ancestor Xiao wanted to say something, but before he finished, something shocking happened. Lin Fan disappeared from the spot and struck towards Master of Sleep. He had fought Master of Sleep before. Although he wasn't a top evil god, with the current situation where they didn't have Tao pattern laws, naturally, he wasn't easy to deal with. Master of Sleep turned his head and his heart trembled. Lin Fan, do you really want to do that? If you kill me, the evil gods will be enemies with you. Now that evil gods are weak, When those truly terrifying evil gods descend, let's see what ability you have. Damn, how hateful. As the master of sleep, when had he faced such a situation? Now that he was forced to desperation, he really didn't know what to do. Even if he fought back, it was useless. He admitted that he wasn't Lin Fan's match. Master of Sleep, why do you need to say all this? Even if you say all this, what is the point? They are strong, but you are so weak. Naturally, you will die. The strong eat the weak. Isn't that what you evil gods believe in? Lin Fan opened his fingers and controlled heaven and earth. A shocking power exploded out. To Master of Sleep, he felt like the dimension around him was being controlled. Deep abyss door. Master of Sleep realized something even more terrifying. He was actually unable to enter the abyss. It was like the abyss was blocking him outside. The Master of Sleep, who noticed the problem, was terrified. This was something that had never happened before. At that moment, Lin Fan's power pierced down from the sky and smashed on a Master of Sleep's body. Pum! To Master of Sleep, he felt like his body was about to explode. A strong power was destroying his life force. There was a loud explosion. The giant body fell and smashed a deep hole in the ground. Damn it, you despicable creature. Master of Sleep's body was covered in blood, and he shouted in rage. The blood stained the ground and gave out a sizzling sound. The ground was being corroded. Shortly after, a giant hand covered over and grabbed Master of Sleep. The power in the 5 fingers suppressed Master of Sleep's evil god power and then sent him towards his mouth. Let me go. Master of Sleep hollered in rage. He was unwilling. Was he going to be swallowed once more? He had always found it hard to understand why evil gods would be swallowed by others. This was something that was impossible in the food chain. But very quickly, Master of Sleep, who entered Lin Fan's stomach, quickly lost consciousness. The power of the flesh and blood seems to have become weaker. Lin Fan closed his eyes and sensed the changes in the darkness god domain. The statue did change once more. Last time when he swallowed Master of Sleep, flesh and blood grew on 1 finger. But after swallowing the Master of Sleep, the situation changed. It didn't grow, but the flesh and blood on the original finger became pure. Is it going to swallow different evil gods? He felt that the darkness god domain in his body was one with the evil gods. But the darkness god domain was a terrifying thing and needed different evil god flesh and blood to recover different parts. Was it one of the 3 pillar gods or one of the ancient gods? Or died due to some special reason? But that was impossible. He had sensed the undying nature of evil gods, and it was really strong. No matter how he was killed, he could revive in the abyss. Old Ancestor Shao walked beside Lin Fan and said in shock, Sect Leader Lin, what realm are you at now? He really didn't understand. He actually swallowed Master Sleep. How is that possible? I'm above Dao Realm Stage 7. I'm a little away from Dao Realm Stage 8. In terms of pure strength, Dao Realm Stage 9 might not be able to fight me. Lin Fan smiled. Impossible. Even so, you can't make Master of Sleep unable to fight back at all. You definitely have something else. Old Ancestor Shao glanced like he was saying that he treated him like a fool. He wouldn't believe anything that he said. Old Ancestor Shao, you are so annoying sometimes. I told you the truth, but you don't believe me. I told you lies, but you don't believe me. Then I have no choice. No matter whether or not you believe me, this is the truth. Lin Fan was helpless. So difficult. It was understandable that no one would believe him if he lied. But no one would believe him if he said the truth. That was a huge headache. Old Ancestor Shao shook his head. Forget it. Forget it. We are on the same boat now. I will believe whatever you say. I'm just shocked. I didn't expect Master Sleep to not be your match. With your current strength, probably only the top 10 evil gods can restrict you. When they fought, if there was someone like Sect Leader Lin, the outcome wouldn't have been so tragic. Maybe they would have won with a perfect outcome. Top 10? You should say top 9. I have already fought the 10th evil god Calamity. He is really strong and can control space, but he didn't gain any advantage. Lin Fan said. Old Ancestor Shao looked at Lin Fan. All of a sudden, he was speechless. But the way he looked at Lin Fan was different. Like he was saying, "Right, you're right. You're the strongest." Lin Fan smiled and patted old ancestor Zhao's shoulder. "Don't look at me like that. There are some things that you haven't personally witnessed. If you do, you will understand." Old ancestor Zhao didn't want to say much to Lin Fan. He knew from the past. This kid's words were a little infuriating. The people he met in the past all spoke nicely, even if they were enemies. At most, they would say some vicious words and scold one another. But since he met Lin Fan, everything had quietly changed. Now that the frequency of evil god activity has increased, let's move and look around. Stop wasting time here. Lin Fan rushed, and then looked towards where old demon Wu Wei fled to. Forget it. He didn't continue to chase. What he didn't expect was that old demon Wu Wei would actually do it alone. That was unexpected. Su Yi and the others knew to team up to deal with evil gods. With old demon Wu Wei's strength, if he faced some strong evil gods, he could only run. Deep Abyss. Ah, the Master of Sleep roared in rage. Deep Abyss, come out. Why did you seal the path? Do you know what I faced outside? Who is controlling you? The Deep Abyss is where evil gods belong. Are you independent or are you controlled by others? Why are you pushing us evil gods out? Master of Sleep wasn't a fool. On the contrary, he was a little smart. While being chased by Lin Fan, he tried his best to contact the Deep Abyss and enter it to hide. But the Deep Abyss stopped him. What was the reason for that? As the 13th evil god, he had a high status in the Deep Abyss. Why would he be treated like that? That didn't make sense at all. It was something that one couldn't understand. Wong, the Deep Abyss shook. Go out. Go out. A weird voice spread out from the Deep Abyss. When it entered Master of Sleep's ears, naturally, it became words that he could understand. Damn. Master of Sleep was furious. He felt like evil gods were chess pieces. Chapter 645. Not only did Master of Sleep notice such a situation, but so did the other evil gods. When they faced danger and wanted to hide in the abyss blocked them outside. After all, such a thing had never happened before. Everything was weird. But even if they were evil gods and embraced the abyss, they didn't have a deep understanding of it. If the abyss didn't show it, how would they have noticed that something was wrong? Master of Sleep left the abyss to search for other evil gods. This matter was related to them. Forget about those living beings. If even the abyss was harming them, then that would be the most terrifying thing for them. Within the abyss, many rows of thrones surrounded one another. Those who could appear here were the top 10 evil gods. Even Calamity, who had lost to Lin Fan, was here. His expression was calm, and one couldn't tell that there was anything wrong with him. Amongst the many thrones, the seat beside Evil God Postline was empty. Guys, the world that we wanted to occupy in the past has started to fight back. Those small living beings have entered this place. Their cultivation is only at Tao Realm Stage 7. They killed evil gods and obtained Tao pattern laws. Of course, their actions have brought us many problems. But we can't die. If they die, they won't have a chance anymore. Evil God Postline slowly opened his mouth like he was talking about something that didn't matter at all. The damage they suffered was higher. Logically speaking, how could they be so calm? But to Postline, they didn't die enough. They should have died more. The surrounding evil gods looked at Postline. Their expressions were calm, and their thoughts were all different. They had to have their own thoughts when facing Postline. If they followed him, they might not even know how they died. Uncontrollably, the evil gods looked towards the throne that no evil god was sitting on. Although a long time had passed, it was only a split second for the undying evil god. We can't ignore those small living beings. Evil God Calamity said slowly. He was extremely furious towards those living beings. He wanted to kill all of those creatures. Calamity, you don't have to worry about those living beings. I know that everyone here is connected to the people in the 12 cities and lend them strength to fight against the evil gods. No matter if it is for fun or whatever, I won't care. But remember, if you have your own thoughts and want to cause trouble among the evil gods, I won't sit still and do nothing. Evil God Postline looked at them. He could suppress these evil gods, but he couldn't kill them. When he said these words, the evil gods all pretended to be dumb. No one knew who was lending power to those lowly living beings. And it was because they borrowed power. That was why those creatures were able to hold on until now. I heard that an evil god encountered living beings outside and wanted to return to the abyss because he was no match for them. However, he found that the path to the abyss was sealed and he could not return. What is going on? An evil god asked. At the same time, his heart trembled. If this was done by an evil god, then he would be controlling the abyss. To any evil god, this wasn't a good thing. At this moment, the evil gods looked at Postline. He was the top evil god, and if one had to say who controlled the abyss, it was definitely him. After all, to turn a living being into an evil god, even they didn't have such an ability. During this period of time, what did he notice in the abyss? This was what all the evil gods wanted to know. But they knew that it was useless to ask. How would he tell them? Is that so? Postline was shocked, and then said, I didn't notice such a problem. It seems like the abyss has its own consciousness. Damn, all the evil gods cursed in their hearts. Would they die if they spoke the truth? They were all evil gods, and they were all embracing the abyss, so what was there to hide? Forget it. Since they were all acting, then they would just act together. They made it seem like they were afraid of each other. But they believed that one day they would be exposed. Secrets couldn't be hidden. They could hide it for a while, but they couldn't hide it forever. Now that the living beings were causing trouble, they were attacking the evil gods. Originally, as long as one of them went out, they would be able to deal with the living beings. But Postline wasn't anxious at all. This made them feel like Postline was planning something. Did he want those living beings to obtain the Tao pattern laws? Wouldn't that allow living beings to walk on the path of Tao Realm Stage 8 to become stronger? That wasn't a good thing for evil gods. Logically speaking, the earlier they dealt with it, the better. Then, they would see what Postline was doing. After which, the evil god meeting ended on a bad note. They didn't get what they wanted to know, but from the meeting, they knew that Postline allowed the living beings to do whatever they wanted. If he was controlling the abyss and preventing those evil gods from returning, it meant that he was sending them to their deaths. He purposely let them be killed by the living beings so that they could obtain the blood pearls, which were Tao pattern laws. A few days later, Lin Fan and old ancestor Xiao returned to rich land. Sect leader Lin, look at this land. The Tao pattern laws have become thicker. Not only are we killing evil gods, but the people from the four alliances are too. Old ancestor Xiao was delighted. The current situation was what he wanted to see the most. Lin Fan frowned. The people from the four alliances are killing the evil gods. Will they shatter the blood pearls and allow the Tao pattern laws to return to the world? I don't believe that. It wasn't that he had problems with the sect leaders of the four alliances, but with their selfish personalities. Would they be so nice to return the Tao pattern laws to the world? He wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death, unless he had seen a ghost. Old ancestor Xiao smiled. Sect leader Lin, you probably don't know about this. Actually, even if we eat the blood pearls, we won't be able to absorb all the Tao pattern laws. We will return to the world. With the current thickness, I think someone has broken through to Tao Realm Stage 8. Lin Fan thought about it and said, speaking of which, my father is already a Tao Realm Stage 8 expert. If one had to say who is the fastest to reach Tao Realm Stage 8, the first person he thought about was his father. Of course, your father is really talented. Even in our era, he would be a top existence. The Tao pattern laws in the world are really thick and have reached the basic requirements to break through. Lin Fan looked at the sky. No, he had to head back to Black Mountain to have a good talk with those evil god servants. He had to break through to Tao Realm Stage 8 first. Anyway, he was just a step away from Tao Realm Stage 8. What do you think? Lin Fan asked. Although old ancestor Xiao was Insect Valley's old ancestor and Insect Valley was really terrifying, that wasn't important. After this period of interaction, old ancestor Xiao knew that Insect Valley was terrifying. He realized that old ancestor Xiao was a decent person. I won't return to Insect Valley for now. Looking at the situation, I will have to fight the evil gods in a short while. Going back is just a waste of time. Old Ancestor Shao said. The main reason was that he felt that there were many benefits to working with Lin Fan. During this period of time, he met many evil gods, and sect leader Lin's strength exceeded his expectations. If he had to describe it, it was comfortable. Yu City. Lin Wani was in secluded meditation. A whirlpool appeared in the sky above Lin Manor. Tao pattern laws turned into all living beings and shone on the land. Although the Tao pattern laws weren't as strong as before, it was enough. But it was enough for Tao entry stage 8. This is the power of the Tao pattern laws. Lin Wani was shocked and delighted. He sensed the majestic power of the Tao pattern laws. What was more shocking was that he knew that the Tao pattern laws hadn't recovered to their peak. But even now, the thickness was so shocking. So how terrifying would it be at its peak? At this moment, Lin Wani's body was like a furnace. He crazily absorbed the Tao pattern laws that surged over from all around. There was a huge commotion. The pinnacle experts of the rich land all felt the Tao pattern laws in the air sweeping towards one direction. I didn't expect Lin Wani to break through so quickly. Su Changsun was really envious. Water Emperor was the same. He might have slacked off, but he was actually really looking forward to reaching stage 8. The Tao pattern laws were gathering towards the city. The aura that seeped out was Lin Wani's aura. The true Tao realm stage 8 was finally formed. Outside Yu City. As expected, it is amazing, Lin Fan exclaimed. He wasn't shocked about anything else but the Tao pattern laws. He had indeed underestimated them. The difference between stage 8 and stage 7 was like the difference between heaven and earth. He was able to kill the stage 8 evil gods because he had too many layers stacked on him. Internal and external cultivation, the darkness god domain, etc. Only by combining them together could he have strength that exceeded stage 7. This is a good start. Today, the Tao pattern laws have reached the most basic requirement. Once the Tao pattern laws get thicker and thicker, my strength will become even stronger. Old Ancestor Shao said. At this moment, his strength was slowly recovering. After having the Tao pattern laws, he could use the characteristics of stage 8. If not, a stage 8 with no characteristics would be too weak. Let's go. Lin Fan returned to Yu City and didn't disturb his father's breakthrough. He had held it in for so long and was finally able to reach stage 8. To his father, he would probably jump up in joy. He didn't return home and instead headed towards Black Mountain. The evil god servants in Black Mountain were in pain. After they were captured, they wanted to leave and return to the evil god's embrace. But this Black Mountain was locked down. The light around blocked their path. Some evil god servants wanted to charge out, but they were instantly killed by the light. This made them realize that it was basically impossible to escape from Black Mountain. At that moment, a terrifying aura descended from above. All the evil god servants raised their heads in terror. They hollered. They screamed. There were even some evil god servants who were too afraid and started to cry like babies. Chapter 646. Evil god servants talk to one another. That damn living being is here. Be careful. You have to be careful. We have to wait for evil god to come. He will definitely come back to save us. They were still waiting for the evil god to save them. That day, the evil god servants in Black Mountain were tragic. Tragic cries reverberated through the Black Mountain. No one knew what had happened inside, and no one knew what the evil god slaves had experienced. Just from the sounds, one could tell that it was tragic. The next day, the first streak of sunlight rose up from the horizon. The light shone on Black Mountain and chased away the darkness. Haze, this is so boring, Lin Fan muttered. He dealt with the evil god servants for so long, and his gains were decent. His rage points were still decent. Tao Realm Stage 8 was stable. Lin Fan felt much better, but for the Martial Path Mountain disciples, it was a form of torture. From the day onwards, screams of terror spread out from Black Mountain. Of course, that was in the day, and the disciples weren't asleep, so it didn't affect them much. But when it was late at night, that was the true terror. The disciples found it hard to sleep. It was okay in the day, but at night, the screams spread in their ears. Those screams terrified them so much that they didn't even dare to breathe. As for Saint Rufo, who was guarding Black Mountain, naturally, he didn't need to say much. His gaze towards Black Mountain changed. It was filled with pity and pity. What a bunch of unlucky fellows. Why did they have to offend sect leader Lin? Weren't they asking to die? Lin Manor. Yongla, father, I am back. The moment Lin Fan entered the courtyard, he muttered. The feeling of returning home was really comfortable, and that was something that nothing else could replace. You arrived yesterday, so why are you only back now? Lin Wani walked out from the inner hall and asked. Lin Fan looked and could tell that his father wasn't simple. Dao Realm Stage 8 not only allowed his father's strength to soar, but it also made him more confident. Thinking about it, it made sense. Father's strength had been stuck at Dao Realm Stage 7. In the past, he was the top person in the world, but evil gods appeared. Along with Lin Fan, he started to doubt life and wasn't as confident as before. But now, after breaking through to Dao Realm Stage 8, Father's confidence returned. I went to Black Mountain to take a look at the evil god servants. Lin Fan replied. Yongla, cousin, and Gozi all walked out from the room. Old ancestor Xiao also ate in Lin Manor and let Gozi cook for him. But to Gozi, he didn't care about this old fellow who looked young, but who knew how old he was. This made old ancestor Xiao really greedy. He had already given them great benefits, but they were all useless. What was so good about those things? You left for so long and only returned now. Let's go eat, Lin Wani said. He found the feeling of being the head of the family. Sure, Lin Fan smiled. He then came to Yongla's side and asked her about the situation. He then headed towards the restaurant. The meal was over. Father, your cultivation has reached Dao Realm Stage 8, and you are starting to comprehend the Dao pattern laws. Is the gap between Stage 7 and 8 really that huge? Lin Fan asked. Lin Wani said solemnly, Huge. It is just too huge. In terms of cultivation, I don't need to say much, but in terms of the special ability, Stage 7 can't even compare to me. I finally understand. When I fought the strongest 9-star generals in U City, the ability to turn back to a child was the special ability of Dao Realm Stage 8. To Lin Wani, he had just stepped into the entrance of Dao Realm Stage 8. This path was still long, and who knew how long it would take to reach the end? Comprehend the laws. One had to slowly comprehend it. Moreover, this was related to the number of Dao patterns one had. Without stepping into Dao Realm Stage 8, one wouldn't understand how terrifying and difficult it was to improve at this realm. Did all of you gain anything from Evil God World? Lin Wani asked. Lin Fan said, Yes, the frequency of evil gods appearing has increased. In the past, they would hide, but looking at how thick the Dao pattern laws are, not only are old ancestor Xiao and I killing them, but even the sect leaders of the 4 alliances are facing many evil gods. Otherwise, such a situation wouldn't have occurred. Although it was a good thing that evil gods appeared. But to Lin Fan, the problem was a little complicated. Evil gods were really stupid, but they couldn't be so stupid. They knew that some evil gods couldn't fight them, but they still came out to die. What were those strong evil gods doing? It wasn't that they couldn't appear. Based on his guesses, they just couldn't move freely. But they were already deep into Evil God World. If those strong evil gods appeared, they would definitely be able to suppress the sect leaders of the 4 alliances. Even old ancestor Xiao and him would be the same. At that moment, old ancestor Xiao was in deep thought. He frowned. Lin Fan's guesses made him think about something. Maybe I can understand a little. Old ancestor Xiao said slowly. The strong evil gods didn't appear and instead let those evil gods that they knew they couldn't defeat appear. They should be giving us Dao pattern laws. In the past, Dao pattern laws were used to suppress those strong evil gods. Now that we can kill other evil gods, we can obtain Dao pattern laws from their bodies. That means that evil gods are using them to send them to die so that they can return Dao pattern laws to us. As Dao pattern laws return to heaven and earth, the suppression on them will become smaller and smaller. Are they going to release something? Old ancestor Zhao's expression changed. When he thought about all this, he had a bad feeling. Lin Wani asked eagerly, "Can we stop them?" Old ancestor Xiao shook his head. "We shouldn't be able to. This is something we have to face. Even if we don't attack, the sect leaders of the four alliances will. Maybe a new battlefield is about to open up. But with our current strength, if we face those terrifying evil gods, we definitely won't be able to fight them." That was the truth. If all Dao pattern laws returned, he would be the only one with Dao Realm Stage 9 strength. But what about the others? They were only at Dao Realm Stage 8. In the past, there were so many Dao Realm Stage 9 experts, and in the end, they only managed to seal the evil gods. Now, they didn't even have the number of peak experts, so how are they going to fight the evil gods? Okay, stop thinking so much. When the time comes, we will cross the bridge. Don't you still have me? Lin Fan consoled them and told them not to worry. There was no need. Weren't they just evil gods, so there was no need to fear them? Old ancestor Xiao said, "Sect leader Lin, you haven't met those truly terrifying evil gods. Their strength is dozens, hundreds of times more terrifying than the evil gods we met. They aren't on the same level at all." Lin Fan was helpless. "Forget it. Let's not talk about it. Sometimes it was good to give them some pressure. At least it would give them motivation. As for if they really face them in the future, naturally, he would attack. Father, old ancestor Xiao, I will go find Yongla. You two continue chat." Lin Fan didn't want to participate in the discussion. He had been out for so long, so it was better to find Yongla. Lin Wani and old ancestor Xiao continued to talk. Their expressions were really solemn. They really treated the evil god situation as a serious matter. Lin Fan understood that no matter what he said now, it was useless. When a matter really happened, he would use absolute strength to suppress it. Actually, it wasn't as complicated as he thought. On the way to find Yongla, Lin Fan used rage points to form Dao patterns. He was just a step away from Dao Realm Stage 8. Dual cultivation. What shocked Lin Fan was that he actually didn't need to absorb the Dao pattern laws. That was a weird thing. The Dao patterns he formed started to change. Maybe this was the ability of the small support system. No matter whether or not there were Dao patterns for you to break through to Stage 8, as long as you had enough rage points, then anything was possible. He didn't think about all this. "Yongla, I am coming." Lin Fan didn't care about raising his cultivation. To him, the most important thing was to find Yongla. Martial Path Mountain. "Water Emperor, what do you think?" Su Changsen asked. Water Emperor said, "Brother Su, are you serious? You really want to head to the Ocean Eye?" "Yeah, you know that Lin Wani broke through to Dao Realm Stage 8. The path ahead has appeared once more, and we should move once more. In the past, we had nowhere to go and could only stay in a certain place. But now we should head out to train." Su Changsan said. "Isn't it too dangerous with just the two of us?" Water Emperor cherished his life. Although he was tempted, he felt that the two of them weren't reliable. What did old ancestor Zhao say? "He has agreed and is waiting for me to inform you," Su Changsan said. Water Emperor thought about it. "Old ancestor Zhao you, and 3 Dao Realm Stage 7 is enough. But Divinator, don't bring him. His cultivation is too weak, and he will drag us down." Just at that moment, the Divinator's furious voice spread in. "Water Emperor, what are you saying? Who are you looking down on?" The Divinator was unhappy. He didn't expect Water Emperor to say that he was weak and that he would drag them down. What was going on? He actually spoke badly of him behind his back. Su Changsan said, "The Divinator will follow us. He can predict the future, and if he joins us, he can ensure our safety." "Scoff, Water Emperor, let me tell you. Apologize to me now. Otherwise, if we face danger, I won't tell you. Haven't you heard that you can offend anyone but me?" The Divinator looked at Water Emperor with rage in his eyes. Damn, if he hadn't heard it personally, he wouldn't have believed that someone would actually speak badly of him. Water Emperor smiled. Brother Divinator, it is my fault. Don't take it to heart. I just didn't pay attention. What I want to say is that with Brother Divinator joining us, it will be a perfect combination. He then looked towards Su Chongson, but we have to drag Swordhead along. That fellow is really strong, and if we face some problems, you'll have to help. Okay, Su Chongson nodded. Thinking about it, this combination was really perfect. Old Ancestor Zhao, Water Emperor, Divinator, Swordhead, and himself. The five of them had their own strengths, and it would be fine for them to head to the Ocean Eye. Even if they faced danger, they would be able to avoid it perfectly. As for Saint Ru Fo, he abandoned him. He was strong, but he wasn't reliable. Chapter 647. Yu City. Lin Fan stayed in the manor for a period of time, and his strength reached Dao Realm Stage 8. He comprehended the Dao pattern laws and realized that it wasn't difficult at all. The small support system was tyrannical. Perhaps common sense shouldn't be used to describe it. Others needed to comprehend Dao pattern laws, but he didn't need to do so at all. Such days made him rather helpless, and he could only play around with his wife at home while he brought his cousin a stroll around the city. When the evil god was wreaking havoc in the world, it was rare to have such a peaceful moment. The sect leaders of the four alliances were fighting the evil gods, so there was nothing for him to do. He was a little tired during this period of time. Taking a good rest was also a reward for himself. At the same time, what he had to do next wasn't to search for evil gods, but to see what they were up to. It would be best if they all took the initiative to come out and let him swallow them up. On this day, Old Ancestor Shao surrounded Lin Fan and asked curiously, "Sect Leader Lin, why do I feel like your aura is a little off?" He really felt that Sect Leader Lin was different. There were some changes compared to when he came back. Of course, naturally, he did not think that Lin Fan's strength had increased. If his strength really increased and he became a Dao Realm Stage 8 expert, then his aura would definitely be different. How could he be so ordinary? Really? Lin Fan touched his face. Could it be that I've been eating too well at home and gained weight? Naturally, he wouldn't tell Old Ancestor Shao. There was no point in telling him about his strength increasing. To Old Ancestor Shao, Stage 8 was not bad, but it wasn't enough to face evil gods. He also wouldn't tell Old Ancestor Shao that Stage 9 was just SOSO and that he shouldn't look down on his Stage 8 cultivation. Old Ancestor Shao didn't linger on this matter and asked, "Sect Leader Lin, we have rested enough. Should we head to Evil God World?" He couldn't stay any longer. He wanted to head to Evil God World to fight the evil gods. The top evil gods didn't come out, which made Old Ancestor Shao more confident. Since they didn't come out, then what did he have to fear? Naturally, he would go all out. Don't be anxious. How long has it been since you've returned? You should take a good rest. There's still a long way to go. Lin Fan said. Even after such a long time, he still had the temperament of a rich young master. He loved to enjoy life, especially after his strength increased. He just wanted to relax, to experience life. Enjoyment makes one fall. Sect Leader Lin, you are still young. At this age, you should work hard. Old Ancestor Shao tried his best to persuade him and wanted to trick Lin Fan too. To be honest, he felt really guilty being alone. He was a little scared. Although his Dao Realm Stage 8 Dao pattern laws had recovered and he had the confidence to face the evil gods, he still panicked if he headed out alone. This was why he hoped that Sect Leader Lin could follow him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have the confidence. Lin Fan waved his hand. "No, I should enjoy myself now. Otherwise, when I get old and can't play anymore, what enjoyment is there to talk about? I will rest for a while more before heading to Evil God World to take a look." Why don't you look at the sky? During this period of time, the Dao pattern laws have become much thicker. The four Alliance sect leaders are working hard. Since they like to kill evil gods, then let them continue. We won't join the fun. He really didn't expect the sect leaders of the four alliances to be so vicious. Although he didn't see it, he knew that they were going to fight to the death with the evil gods. Old Ancestor Shao raised his head and was a little worried. It was a good thing that the Dao pattern laws were getting thicker. But all of this was done on purpose by the evil gods. Who knew what would happen once the Dao patterns returned? That was hard to say. Old Ancestor Shao didn't give up. Sect Leader Lin, just give me an accurate time. When should we head out? I will wait for you. Old Ancestor Shao, you are much stronger than before. You will definitely be fine if you head into Evil God World alone. Why don't you try yourself? Lin Fan said. Old Ancestor Shao looked at Lin Fan. His expression was solemn, like he was saying, "Stop joking, okay?" He trusted him and not himself. At that moment, within Yu City, in this prosperous Yu City where beggars shouldn't appear, a beggar actually appeared. The surrounding commoners looked at this beggar with pitiful looks on their faces. Although the beggar's face was dirty, he still looked very young. However, such a young person was limping forward with the help of a walking stick. Very quickly, the beggar stood at the entrance of Lin Manor and raised his head with much difficulty. His eyes that had lost their light shone brightly once more when he saw the words Lin Manor on the signboard. "Who are you looking for?" the guard asked. Although they were guards, they had to look at what kind of place this was. That was a relative of the emperor. Moreover, their young master was the Martial Path Mountain sect leader. His status wasn't ordinary. At the same time, they inherited their young master's tradition of using virtue to win people over. They didn't look down on him just because he was a beggar. Instead, they asked him who he was looking for. "I'm looking for sect leader Lin Fan," the beggar said. It seemed like he hadn't drunk water for a long time, and his voice was a little hoarse. When they heard that he was looking for their young master, the guard sized him up and then looked at one another. They didn't reject him. They knew that young master knew all sorts of weird people, and it wasn't strange for him to know a beggar. "Wait a moment. I'll go inform you right now." One of the guards left. At that moment, Lin Fan was chatting with Old Ancestor Shao. Old Ancestor Shao was begging him to head to Evil God World with him. There was no future here, but he had no choice. He said so much, but it was useless at all. He was about to cry. Just at that moment, a guard hurried over. "Young master, there is a beggar who wants to see you." "Beggar?" Lin Fan was stunned. He thought about it, and was sure that out of all the people he knew, there was no one who did such a job. He said, "Bring him in." "Yes," the guard replied. Old Ancestor Shao was a little curious. Who was the beggar who came to find sect leader Lin? Very quickly, the guard walked in with a beggar. After bringing the beggar into the courtyard, he returned to guard the entrance. Sect leader Lin. When the beggar saw Lin Fan, he couldn't help but cry out, "I finally found you." Lin Fan was stunned by the other party's agitation. At the start, he really didn't recognize him, but slowly, he realized that this person was familiar. Suddenly, he recognized him. "Young Master Huang, how did you end up like this?" Lin Fan opened his eyes wide and exclaimed. If he hadn't personally witnessed it, he wouldn't have believed it. Thinking back to the past, Huang Boren, young Master Huang, was a famous person, a calligraphy grandmaster. But now that he hadn't seen him for half a year, he became like this. He didn't know what to say. "Wah!" Huang Boren hugged Lin Fan's thigh emotionally and cried with tears and snot flowing down his face. "Sect leader Lin, I'm really pitiful. Half a year ago, I left Jiang City and headed south. Finally, I found a city that wasn't affected and settled down. Who knew that there would be chaos and my assets were stolen? Huang family was gone just like that. I escaped and met the sect that was in charge of that place. They captured me and made me a chef. It took me a lot of effort to escape. I headed towards Yu City and hoped to find sect leader Lin. I've been looking for him all the way until now." Initially, when Lin Fan saw young Master Huang crying in snot, he wanted to kick him away. But looking at how pitiful he was crying, his heart softened. He touched his head and consoled, "Don't be sad. Everything is fine as long as you can find me." Huang Boren felt really bad. He hugged Lin Fan's leg and cried there. Why is a man crying like that? Although life is a little sad, there is no need to do this. Old Ancestor Shao was helpless. Lin Fan said, "Old Ancestor Shao, you don't understand. His heart is really weak." After a long while, Huang Boren calmed down and raised his head to look at Lin Fan. "Sect leader Lin, I want to ask you something. You want to ask about your investment in Martial Path Mountain, right?" Lin Fan said. "Yes." Huang Boren nodded his head. He came all the way to find Lin Fan, not to complain, but because he remembered that he had such an investment before. It was his last hope. Lin Fan said, "Don't worry, this investment is the best thing you have done in your life. I'm a man of my words. I said that as long as you invest, you will have a share in Marshall Path Mountain. Now that I have wiped out all the sects in the world, only a few have a good relationship with me." Huang Boren looked at Lin Fan with his mouth agape. Sect leader Lin's words echoed in his mind. There weren't many sects left in the world. Didn't that mean that Marshall Path Mountain had become the most terrifying existence in the world? Suddenly, Huang Boren, who was depressed, stood up and said emotionally, "Sect leader Lin, does that mean that I can revive the Huang family? When my father passed away, I said that I would definitely make the Huang family a true aristocratic family. But one calamity after another has left me in despair. Now Huang Xiaolong's heart was filled with despair. As he said that, Huang Boren cried out once more. Okay, stop crying. What's there to cry about? In the future, you can establish the Huang family in your city. With Marshall Path Mountain protecting you, what do you have to fear? Once this matter is solved, I will arrange a position for you in Marshall Path Mountain." All right, what about Chen family's Qinshangyao? In Jiang City, Lin Fan interacted with Huang family and Chen family. Now that things developed too quickly, thinking about those happy and worry-free things in the past, it really made one reminisce. He is quite pitiful, and his situation isn't much better than mine. I heard that he married into their family and became their son-in-law. His life should be okay, Huang Boren said. Lin Fan sighed. He didn't expect such an outcome. Chapter 648. Lin Fan told people to arrange things for Huang Boren. Although Yu City was far away, it couldn't be underestimated. Someone higher than the emperor was in Yu City. Even if it was in the mountains, it wasn't as simple as one thought. Old ancestor Xiao asked curiously, "Sect leader Lin, who is this person? Why does he have anything to do with Marshall Path Mountain? With his cultivation, he doesn't even have the right to sweep the floor." Lin Fan sighed and then said, "This is a long story. When Marshall Path Mountain was just formed, we lacked money and manpower. He invested 5,000 silver to support Marshall Path Mountain, and I promised him that as long as Marshall Path Mountain rose up, he would have a spot. Now that Marshall Path Mountain has really risen up, naturally, I have to keep to my words." 5,000 silver, top sect. That is something he wouldn't even be able to do. If I woke up earlier, I wouldn't even blink if I invested 100,000 silver in you, Old ancestor Xiao said. At the same time, he noticed that sect leader Lin was good at keeping to his words. Thinking about it, it made sense. Although their interactions during this period of time weren't too harmonious, they'd become familiar with each other and understood how they communicated with each other. Deep Abyss. Evil God Postline sensed the changes in the Abyss and was delighted. During this period of time, the changes were huge. Those evil gods that returned to the Abyss were chased away by him to fight those living beings outside. Those living beings didn't disappoint him. He really killed the evil gods badly. Many evil gods that revived in the Abyss dissed and were furious. When he saw all of this, it was obvious that they didn't die enough. It was impossible for them to hide in the Abyss to avoid death. The Abyss wouldn't take them in. He would just let the Abyss chase them out and continue to send them to their deaths. The top 10 evil gods all noticed a problem. The Tao pattern laws had less and less of an effect on them. They slowly understood what Postline was doing. They didn't stop him. Like Postline, they were all looking forward to it. But in the evil god world, they noticed a freak. That was Monster Emperor. He swallowed evil gods. At the same time, they noticed that Monster Emperor's situation changed. It was like evil gods were evolving. But he wasn't an evil god and didn't gain the recognition of the Abyss. So what was the reason for all of this? A desolate land. Monster Emperor was still the same as before. His body was still so huge, but his body had undergone a huge change. Kacha! Monster Emperor's leg landed and the ground shook. Power spread out from his leg, causing the ground around to crack like a spiderweb. This power is really strong. I have reached Tao Realm Stage 8, and the Tao pattern laws have gathered in my body. Along with this perfect body, there aren't many people in the world who can beat me. Monster Emperor muttered to himself confidently. Indeed, your transformation is truly astonishing, but to say that there are few in this world who can defeat you, you're being too arrogant. Suddenly, a voice rang out around Monster Emperor. The voice was sometimes near and sometimes far, making it hard to fathom. Who? Monster Emperor hollered in rage. The surrounding space couldn't take such a voice and shattered right away. If there was someone hiding within, they would definitely be shaken to death. He scanned the area, but didn't find any traces. An expert. Monster Emperor was really excited. To be able to hide from him, apart from people stronger than him, no one else could do that. At this moment, not far from Monster Emperor, an illusionary light screen appeared. A weird glow flowed on it. Monster Emperor, you don't need to think about who I am. You have already guessed it. If you want a name, then I'm the evil god that you mentioned. Ha ha! Monster Emperor laughed. Evil god? I have eaten so many evil gods, and you actually dare to send yourself to me. Do you not know how to write the word death? Is that so? A voice spread out from the screen, and then he said calmly, Your existence makes me curious. As a living being, you can swallow evil gods. That really confuses me. If I wasn't sure that you weren't an evil god, I would have thought that you were the reincarnation of an evil god. Your existence shouldn't be mixed with living beings. I will bring you to a place where you can give up your mortal flesh and blood and break away from the realm of living beings. How about that? Monster Emperor laughed. Mortal flesh and blood? Break away from the realm of living beings? No, I won't become a monster like you say. Monster? The screen paused and then said, Look at your current situation. Do you think that people won't treat you as a monster? What did you say? Monster Emperor was furious. The fats on his body shook and they smashed into one another, giving out a loud thud. What did you say? You damn thing. What he was most furious about was people calling him a monster and also fat. As expected, only he wouldn't look at him with a weird gaze. As for the other people, they all thought that way. Are you angry out of humiliation? Or do people think that you aren't a monster? A voice spread out from the screen. Monster Emperor didn't hesitate and hollered, Yes, there will always be someone who doesn't treat me as a monster and can even notice my beauty like me. No, I didn't notice it in the past, but since he appeared, he told me where I was beautiful. Even after so long, I still remember those words. The screen was silent like it was in deep thought. Okay, you are searching for the perfect body. I can tell you where the evil god is. Step into the screen, and I will bring you over. Monster Emperor was tempted. He had been searching for the perfect body. Especially after swallowing the evil god, he realized that the perfect body was obtained from the evil god's body. The bugs in his body would break down the evil god's flesh and blood and find the perfect thing within. Then they would transfer it to his own body. Okay, I will follow you, but I hope that you don't lie to me, otherwise I will swallow you up. The moment he said this, Monster Emperor walked towards the screen. He didn't fear anything. Even if he faced a terrifying existence, he would go all out to rip off his flesh and blood. Actually, one should say that Monster Emperor was a little dumb. Maybe his body had mutated and his brain wasn't that good. His wariness towards danger was just too low. To search for the perfect body, he could ignore all dangers and step into other people's traps. Since old Demon Wu Wei saw Lin Fan, he became more fearful and didn't dare to walk around Evil God World. He also bumped into Su Yi and the others. He told them about Lin Fan's appearance in Evil God World. But Su Yi told old Demon Wu Wei that they had met sect leader Lin long ago, and he didn't do anything to them. After hearing this, old Demon Wu Wei looked at Su Yi with a stunned expression. Damn, so what sect leader Lin said that day was true. Then why did he still run? When he thought about how his face turned white when he saw Lin Fan, and how he ran right away, he felt like he couldn't keep his face anymore. The Tao pattern laws are getting thicker and thicker. A while ago, I broke through to Tao Realm Stage 8 and am comprehending the laws. Maybe in just a short time, I will be able to walk even further. Su Yi said, He was really excited. To be able to walk to a higher realm was his life goal. Old Demon Wu Wei said, "Then, should we find Lin Fan to take revenge?" When he said this, everyone around quietened down. Suyi looked at old Demon Wu Wei. "Are you asking to die?" "How am I asking to die? Lin Fan conned our four alliances so badly. Don't you want to take revenge?" Old Demon Wu Wei looked at them. His eyes were filled with rage and also helplessness. He didn't expect Su Yi to actually be afraid. He could understand anyone being afraid, but he didn't expect Su Yi to be the first to retort. "Old Demon Wu Wei, we all know what you are thinking. You think that if you can break through to Dao Realm Stage 8, you will have the ability to fight Lin Fan. But have you thought about how strong Lin Fan has become? Or will he just stay on the spot and wait for us to catch up?" Old Monster Heaven Slaying said. Before this, they all thought about this question. They felt that since they had broken through to Dao Realm Stage 8, why not fight Lin Fan? But after a careful discussion, they felt that they couldn't do it and that they were just asking to die. Old Demon Wu Wei was unwilling. "Then we can wait. Once we understand Lin Fan's strength and confirm that his cultivation is the same as ours, we will definitely be able to suppress him." "Okay, let's not talk about this. Let's go find the evil god." Suyi changed the topic and didn't want to continue talking about this. He was a little tired. He felt that if he followed old Demon Wu Wei's thoughts, he would probably walk into the depths of hell. It was good to hide things in one's heart, but if he said it out, then the situation wouldn't be right. "Haze." Old Demon Wu Wei looked at the situation and sighed. He didn't know what to say. He felt that Lin Fan had grinded these people's hearts, and they were so suppressed that they didn't have any will to fight back. He could have waved his sleeves and hollered in rage. He wasn't willing to work with cowardly people like you. He then floated away. But he didn't do that. In such a dangerous place, it was more comfortable to stick together. Suddenly, heaven and earth shook. What happened? They raised their heads and saw a thick Dao pattern law turn into a dragon that charged into the sky. It passed through evil God world and returned to where they should be. What is going on? Who did it? He actually released so many Dao pattern laws at once. So he was shocked. Such thick Dao pattern laws. How many evil gods have been killed? Moreover, were they killed? Wasn't that a little too much? Old Monster Heaven Slaying said, "Do you think sect leader Lin did it?" It is hard to say. It might be. Suya's expression was solemn. To him, only sect leader Lin could do such a thing. If not, who else could do such a thing? But that was good. For them, it was all good. Chapter 649. Deep Abyss, someplace. Who is he? Why is he doing this? Monster Emperor swallowed a screaming evil god. His expression was really solemn. He didn't understand why Lin Fan did that. He just wanted to let him eat his fill. When Monster Emperor swallowed the evil god, the deep abyss energy around surged into Monster Emperor's body unknowingly. But Monster Emperor didn't notice that. He was already immersed in the joy of swallowing evil gods. As for other things, if he noticed, then so be it. If he didn't, then he would think about it in the future. The evil god hidden in the abyss looked at Monster Emperor that he brought in. He was in deep thought. What a monster! He didn't understand how Lin Fan did it. He could only observe silently and pay attention to the changes in Monster Emperor. He noticed that the evil god energy in his body was getting thicker and thicker. But if he sensed it carefully, it was different from evil god energy. He was really confused. "You city. Oh my god, the sect leaders of the four alliances are so strong. They change every day." Lin Fan was eating snacks and bragging to old ancestor Shao. Just at that moment, the area shook and clouds covered. It was obvious that the area had changed. The heaven and earth energy in the air became thicker. Old ancestor Shao raised his head, and his expression was really complicated. He was really eager. "Sect leader Lin, look at the situation. We can't just sit here and do nothing. We have to attack." This time Lin Fan didn't reject and was in deep thought. It seems like evil gods are moving more and more often. Otherwise, the area wouldn't have changed so quickly. Based on this, how long do you think it will take for the Dao pattern laws to return to before? Lin Fan asked. Old ancestor Xiao thought about it and said slowly, "Half a month. So quick," Lin Fan muttered. In his heart, he didn't believe that the people from the Four Alliances did it. Although the sect leaders of the Four Alliances were strong and could kill some of the evil gods, some of the stronger ones, such as those in the top 20, weren't people they could kill. Even if they did, they would have to pay a huge price. But looking at the speed, how could they pay such a huge price to do it? It was obvious that they were using a really quick speed to kill evil gods and allow the Tao pattern laws to return to heaven and earth. Sect leader Lin, no matter what, we have to head to Evil God World to take a look. Evil God made the Tao pattern laws flow back so quickly. There is definitely a problem. Old ancestor Xiao said. He was happy that the Tao pattern laws were returning, but he was also shocked. These were used to suppress evil gods. Now that the Tao pattern laws were quickly returning, was there an evil god behind it? No. It shouldn't be yes or no, but inevitable. Then let's go. I also want to know whether or not people from the Four Alliances are killing the evil gods. They're a little quick and unexpected, Lin Fan said. Very soon, the two of them headed towards the evil god realm. After they left, Zhou Zhomao stood there and looked up, feeling a little sad. He had promised to bring him along, but because of his own strength, he couldn't keep up with his cousin's pace. It was really hard to bear. Within the U City restaurant, Yuan Tianshu, Liang Yongji, and Huang Boren were drinking and eating in Drunk Fragrance Pavilion. They were in a good mood. AI, our sect leader has left again. Sect leader is really a busy man. That's right. Then, there was no then. They continued to brag and enjoy this hard-won, peaceful life. Evil God World. The divinator was solemnly calculating with his fingers. His brows relaxed and frowned. He muttered, "Not good, not good. Was not good. Give me a reason." Water Emperor asked eagerly. Damn, the divinator was really anxious. Who knew whether or not he was reliable? The few of them came to Evil God World and were shocked by the aura here. It was really terrifying. Too evil. They nearly couldn't take it. The divinator said, "Just now, I calculated with my fingers, and all of us have good luck. But just now, I calculated with my fingers again, and our destiny changed. It's not looking good, and if we continue to go deeper, things will be bad." Sir Head said, "Then what should we do?" The divinator frowned and was in deep thought. There's only one way. Wait here and wait for the fate to change once more. Do not believe me. Fate is something that only works if you believe it. If you don't, you can try. But if something happens, don't shout for help. Originally, Water Emperor wanted to ask if Lin Fan was reliable or not. But thinking about the divinator's ability, he knew that he wasn't just bragging. Thus, he suppressed the thought of trying it out. Is there really a use in waiting here? Sore Head asked. He didn't doubt the divinator's professionalism. He had gone through so much training before he was called the divinator. So, he believed it from the bottom of his heart. Of course there's a use. Do you still doubt my professionalism? The divinator was unhappy and continued. There was someone who doubted me last time, and his grave is taller than all of you. His words were really overbearing. Su Changsun and old ancestor Zhao looked at one another and didn't say anything. Since that was the case, then they would just stay here for a while. Everyone sat there and looked at their surroundings. They were in a wild forest, and the trees around were slightly withered. The ground was black and the soil was really tough. They spread out their senses. They didn't notice anything dangerous around. Everyone, it is better to be safe than sorry. Especially in such a place, who knows what we will face? Sore Head said. Sore Head's words make sense. Since that is the case, then let's wait here. Old ancestor Zhao said. Their combined strength was still very terrifying. It wasn't as simple as 1, 2, 3. If normal evil gods met the few of them, they would be unlucky. In the distance, Lin Fan and old ancestor Xiao came to Evil God World and looked around. Sect leader Lin, we can only search ourselves. Old ancestor Xiao said. They had been searching aimlessly in the first place. Did you notice that the situation is a little off? The evil god aura is getting thicker and thicker. Lin Fan asked. Old Ancestor Shao was stunned. He sensed, and his expression changed. I sense some familiar evil god aura. They should be coming out. You're talking about the top 10 evil gods? Lin Fan asked. Up until now, he had fought with 2 of the top 10 heretic gods. One had to say that the first evil god was really terrifying. He was really strong. As for evil god Calamity, he didn't need to worry too much. With his current strength, he could easily crush them. It seems like it is as I guessed. The Tao pattern laws are returning, and the suppression on evil gods is weakening. Now that those really strong evil gods are appearing, a battle is unavoidable. I'm afraid I might not be able to take it. Old Ancestor Shao was worried like all the pressure was pressing down on him. As for Lin Fan, naturally, he forgot about him. Although he was strong, he had a limit. Compared to the most terrifying evil gods, the gap was still huge. Lin Fan's gaze towards Old Ancestor Shao was a little off. Those words sounded a little weird, like he was being underestimated. Old Ancestor Shao, are you really prepared to take it on alone? Old Ancestor Shao sighed. If I don't, then who else can? I have lived till now to deal with evil gods. They have awakened once more. Even if I can't fight them alone, I won't be afraid or cowardly. When he said those words, Old Ancestor Zhao's aura and mentality were totally different. His body gave off a fearless spirit. Respect. Lin Fan patted Old Ancestor Zhao's shoulder and nodded his head. At the same time, he gave him a thumbs up. Haze. Old Ancestor Shao was humble. Sect leader Lin, there is nothing to respect. But if I don't do it, who else has the ability to? During this period of time, while the Tao pattern laws are returning, I need to recover my strength. Only then will I have the strength to fight them. Old Ancestor Shao had thought it through. Even if he recovered to his peak, he wouldn't be able to fight the top evil god. But even if he couldn't, he had to gather his courage to fight him to the end. Let's go. Let's not talk about all this. Let's see how many strong evil gods appear. Lin Fan waved his hands. He didn't want to continue listening to Old Ancestor Shao talk about righteousness. He still had to move. But with the current situation, he had to sweep aimlessly once more. The next day, the divinator divined and was delighted. Stop resting. Luck is here. I will open the path. Follow me. Is that true? Don't face another calamity halfway. Water Emperor said. The divinator said, Scoff. How can I be wrong? If you don't believe me, then wait here. If you get any benefits, don't ask for it from us. I'm just saying, I don't mean anything else. Water Emperor cherished his life and didn't want to send himself to death. But if there were benefits, then no matter what, he had to follow. He was afraid of losing something. Not long later, when they headed in that direction, they noticed an aura surging towards them. Shortly after, they found that the ground had cracked open, and a monster was slowly walking out of it. Divinator, are you sure you didn't divinate wrongly? Water Emperor looked at the evil god and was stunned. No, definitely not. It seems like this is an evil god. When I divined, I realized that this is good luck for us. Don't worry, this evil god isn't our match. The divinator said. This was the first time he met an evil god. One had to say that the evil god's appearance and aura were shocking. One look and one knew that he was extraordinary. Then, what are you waiting for? Attack him, Water Emperor exclaimed. He was the first to charge at the evil god. Chapter 650. Water Emperor charged out excitedly. Naturally, Swordhead and the others didn't fall behind. Swordhead once swept the land with 1,000,000 swords of Sword Palace, suppressing Monster Emperor so much that he couldn't even raise his head. He also gave the Alliance 9-star generals a huge headache. Although he had returned the foundations, he still couldn't underestimate Swordhead's strength. Swordhead's aura rose, and he gave off a majestic aura. In the sky, numerous sword intents filled with killing power hung down. He hadn't attacked in a long time. The killing energy in his heart had nowhere to be used. Now that he faced an evil god, he could vent it out. Swordhead stood with his arms behind his back and floated in the air. His robe rustled, and he stepped forwards. The killing sword intent gathered in the sky, descended like an arrow rain. Oh, bastard! Who the hell let that guy in? Evil god, Yao Shun hollered in rage. He was swallowed several times and finally found a chance to escape. The rage in his heart was hard to calm down. He felt that another evil god had betrayed them. If not, how could such a thing happen? Suddenly, this aura, evil god Yao Shun was stunned. He sensed several terrifying auras striking from afar. They were filled with killing intent. He raised his head and his expression was one of shock. What? In the sky above, tens of thousands of swords rushed over, bringing with them a boundless and terrifying might. Shwa shwa. The sword intent stabbed into the evil god's eyes. His body was like a beehive. Screams rang out. Swordhead, your move is amazing. You have turned the evil god into a beehive, but with his current situation, we have no way to attack him. Water Emperor shouted. A transparent light gathered on his fists. He looked left and right to find a spot on the evil god's body that he could attack. The best is yet to come, Swordhead said. He took in a deep breath, and then his gaze turned sharp. He hollered, Blood sword. Sila. The sword intent that stabbed into the evil god's body shook. Endless killing power exploded, and with a loud explosion, the sword intent exploded. Evil god screamed. Numerous pieces of evil god flesh and blood were blown apart. Amazing, Water Emperor praised. He didn't stop and waved his fists. Light turned into 2 water dragons that shot forwards. Dragon roars shook the sky, and the 2 water dragons wrapped around the evil god's body. With a loud explosion, they exploded once more. Old Ancestor Zhao and Su Chang's son didn't show any weakness. Their auras rose and gathered to the peak. They attacked, and a bright light covered the sky. They all smashed into the evil god's body. Bang! Bang! As for the divinator, he just stood at the side and watched. He was much weaker than them, so he didn't go up to help. Moreover, if he really rushed forward, his fate would not be any better. It was very likely that he would be hammered to death by the opponent. Hayes, I cultivated hard, but my cultivation fell behind. If I knew that this would happen, I would have cultivated first. The divinator was helpless. Seeing them fight so happily, his heart itched. Although these old guys were old, their hands and feet were still very nimble. Their movements were as fierce as tigers, and the damage they dealt was even more incredible. Stop hitting him. He seems to be dead. Water Emperor felt that the situation wasn't right. Evil God's shouts disappeared, and that huge body seemed to have shrunk by a lot. When Swordhead and the others heard the voice, they stopped. The region that was shaken by the terrifying aura calmed down, and the dust dissipated. A deep hole was left in the ground. White smoke rose up from the deep hole. Water Emperor landed, and when he saw the situation, his expression became a little weird. What was that black thing in the deep hole? The bunch of them landed and surrounded the deep hole. They looked in. I just want to ask, what is that black thing? Asked the Water Emperor. Su Chan-san frowned. I can't tell. Maybe it is evil god's flesh and blood. Damn, you know that it is evil god's flesh and blood? How did it end up in such a mess? Water Emperor scolded and then looked at Swordhead. You have to take full responsibility for this. An evil god was stabbed into a porcupine by you. Didn't you feel good enough? You exploded it and actually blew it up. Even if there was something good, it would be gone. Water Emperor, don't slander me. I didn't destroy the corpse. I think you did it. How could Swordhead be doubted by them? Naturally, he had to retort. He wasn't going to take the blame. A bunch of them came to Evil God World to search for evil gods, and now that they met them, in the end, because they beat the evil god up, they started to blame one another. That was just too much. Hayes, this is fate. This can only mean that you are not fated with fate. The divinator said calmly, based on fate, all of you will gain benefits. But looking at it now, there are no benefits. Water Emperor and the others looked at one another. They didn't expect that to happen. Divinator, continue to look and see if there are any more. Water Emperor asked. He realized that evil gods were just SOSO. If he paid more attention, nothing would happen. The divinator shook his head. How can there be so much luck? Also, Don't underestimate this place. I observe that the fate of this world is really weird, and there are dangers everywhere. We were lucky just now, but we can only continue to wait and hope that more luck will come. Haze, Water Emperor sighed. If it's fated, then it will happen. If it's not, then don't force it. So that's what it means. If I knew, I would have attacked alone and left his corpse intact. But now that all of you joined in, the situation has changed. Lin Fan and old ancestor Xiao searched but didn't get anything at all. Weird, how did this happen? Old ancestor Xiao frowned and didn't understand. The Tao pattern laws returned so quickly naturally because evil gods were being killed. But sect leader Lin and him searched for so long and still didn't find any traces of evil gods. That was weird. This situation is a little off. Evil gods probably didn't appear here, or maybe they weren't killed by the four alliances. Do you think they are fighting amongst themselves? Lin Fan asked. Old ancestor Xiao shook his head. Impossible. Even if evil gods fight amongst themselves, they wouldn't kill one another. That goes against evil god rules. Even the top evil god wouldn't dare to kill evil gods. Then continue to search. I feel like we're getting closer and closer to the truth. Lin Fan said. Okay. A few days later, the Tao pattern laws became thicker and thicker. In the deep abyss. Eat, eat. Monster Emperor's mental state was getting crazier. Evil gods were being swallowed by him. His body was totally different, and one could treat him as a monster. Moreover, his body gave off a thick aura. It was like the aura of the abyss and another aura mixed together. Evil god Postline paid attention to all of this. He wanted to turn him into an evil god, but who knew that when the energy of the abyss covered him, he would dissolve it. It merged with his own aura and formed another special aura. Where did this person come from? Evil god Postline was in deep thought. He wanted to understand Monster Emperor's situation, but till now, he still couldn't see through it. But things were indeed progressing according to what he wanted. Although it didn't reach his expectations, it wasn't much of a problem. The Tao pattern laws are slowly returning, and the abyss is starting to recover. In just a short while, it will return to the world. Postline's thoughts were slowly about to be realized. He felt really good. There was an indescribable feeling of comfort. Although I can't turn him into an evil god, his situation isn't good. He is covered by the aura of the abyss, and his mental state is starting to become chaotic. Just as he was thinking about all these things, many evil gods cried out in pain. There were even some evil gods who started to curse. They were all forced into a corner. It was as if the abyss had a grudge against them. Each time they revived, they would revive at a fixed place. They couldn't control it at all. Moreover, there was a monster that loved to swallow them. Right, a monster. The other top 10 evil gods realized that the situation wasn't right. They came to the abyss and wanted to break it open to take a look. Who knew that the abyss would block them outside? Even they couldn't enter. Postline, we know that you're stopping us. What are you doing? The third evil god hollered in rage. The abyss shook. It was obvious that he was extremely furious. Do you know that you are harming all evil gods? He hollered in rage and hoped that Lin Fan could come out and explain the exact situation. But no matter how he hollered, evil god Postline still didn't come out. It was like he had already laid his cards on the table. He is crazy, another evil god said. Then another evil god said, the Tao pattern laws that suppressed us are disappearing quickly. What is he trying to do? The disappearance of the three primordial gods and the ancient god is closely related to the Tao pattern laws. Could it be that he wants to release the three primordial gods and the ancient god? They looked at the abyss, although they couldn't see the situation within, but they could sense the painful cries of many evil gods. It was obvious that they faced unimaginable pain. You didn't kill the evil gods? Lin Fan bumped into Su Yi and the others and asked whether or not they were the ones who killed them. Who knew that they weren't? Since a while ago, they rarely met evil gods. Especially during this period of time, there were very few evil gods. One could even say that evil gods had totally disappeared. Lin Fan and old ancestor Xiao looked at one another. Their eyes shone with a weird expression. Sect leader Lin, if they didn't kill them, then who killed them? Unless other evil gods killed them? Old ancestor Xiao said. Lin Fan raised his head and looked into the sky. During this period of time, large amounts of Tao pattern laws returned. It was like a hole had been opened and numerous currents surged out. They couldn't be blocked at all. This was something that he didn't dare to imagine in the past. It seems like we'll know the outcome soon. Let's go back. Lin Fan was in deep thought. Were they going to fight to the death? Just thinking about it terrified him. Chapter 651. You City. Sect Leader Lin. Actually, there is no need for us to return. We can continue to observe the situation there. Who knows, we might find something new. Old Ancestor Xiao said. What new? Old Ancestor Xiao really liked to think. Lin Fan would never believe in luck. Even if he was lucky, tragedy would be chasing after him. Fano, what happened in Evil God World? Why did the Tao pattern laws become so thick? Lin Wani asked. Since he broke through to Tao Realm Stage 8, he had been cultivating. At first, it was a little difficult, but slowly he noticed that the Tao pattern laws became thicker and the changes each day were really terrifying. This made Lin Wani feel like things weren't right. Father, I don't know the exact situation. Lin Fan said. He was also thinking about what was going on. He felt like something wasn't right. Logically speaking, if it wasn't the people from the Four Alliances, then who was it? Sect Leader Lin. Actually, we shouldn't have returned. Since we don't know who did it, we can search in Evil God World. As long as we continue, we will definitely find out who it was. Old Ancestor Xiao said. He was reluctant to leave Evil God World. Killing evil gods was a joyous thing, and to give it up just like that made him feel really helpless. If you want to go, then go yourself. I still have things to do. Lin Fan replied. What was the point of heading to Evil God World now? He couldn't even meet a single person. He really didn't understand what the evil gods were thinking. They would rather be killed by others. They weren't willing to let him kill them. Anyway, if they died to him, they would be able to witness the growth of a terrifying expert. During this growth process, they had contributed, and it wasn't embarrassing to say it out loud. Old Ancestor Xiao was helpless. Forget about heading to Evil God World alone. If he really faced an evil god that he didn't want to face, even running would be a problem. Deep Abyss. Ji's arrival told Evil God Postline about Monster Emperor's background. He is called Monster Emperor, a native of Richland. He was once from Insect Valley and cultivated the bug-controlling technique. Ji said slowly. He knew that he was one with the evil god and wasn't a human anymore. The change in factions caused Ji's mentality to change. Along with the Alliance's actions, he was extremely disappointed. That was why he wasn't living for anyone else, but for himself. At the same time, he was taking revenge. How could humans do that? Evil God Postline was in deep thought. He couldn't understand. How'd he do it? He then looked towards Ji. He was also a human, but after being embraced by the Abyss, he became an evil god. Although he was fundamentally different from those evil gods, the difference wasn't too big. But Monster Emperor's situation was totally unexpected. Ji was able to know that Monster Emperor was killing evil gods in the deep abyss. Maybe it was because Evil God Postline liked him, or maybe he was his servant. He vaguely felt that he was being controlled by something, although this feeling was very subtle. However, if he really wanted to betray the other party, his life or death will be decided by a single thought from the other party. Forget it. Don't think too much. Gee, the day you want to take revenge is about to arrive. When the time comes, the evil gods will come to your old world and occupy it. Your return isn't hope for them, but a nightmare. Postline said, I have waited for too long. G said slowly. His vengeful heart supported him till now, and he definitely wouldn't forget about the hatred in his heart. Not only did he want to take revenge, but he also didn't forget about the Alliance. Alliance. Yin Kuan cleaned up the Alliance. That evil god invasion had a huge impact on the Alliance. There were many deaths. This caused the citizens of the Alliance to fall into panic. To them, there was no peace at all. It was just so terrifying. But Yin Kuan didn't tell them who the culprit was. Ji's appearance wasn't a good thing. Although most people acknowledged their power, there were still some who were thinking about the former alliance. If they found out about Ji's return, who knew what would happen? Just at that moment, Yin Kuan sensed the dimension ripple. Sect Leader Lin, why are you here? Yin Kuan asked in joy. To Yin Kuan, with his hard work, the diplomatic relationship between the alliance and the rich land had a perfect start. As long as he continued to work hard, he would be able to establish relations with the rich land. As long as he continued to work hard, he could shamelessly talk to Sect Leader Lin about this. The alliance had a lack of resources, and they had been dug dry. But Richland had a lot of resources. In the past, he wanted to snatch them forcefully, but now he wanted to talk about friendly cooperation, mutual benefits, and common development. Island Headlong Song and the others didn't seem wary of Lin Fan, but deep down, they were still wary. After all, they were from Richland. But they knew that using force was asking to die. If they wanted to develop, they had to be friendly with each other. So, they didn't think that there was anything wrong with Yin Kuan being friendly towards Lin Fan. Instead, they handed this matter to Yin Kuan to deal with. Lin Fan said, I came to inform you to be prepared. Maybe in a short while, something huge will happen. I think all of you noticed that the Tao pattern laws are getting thicker. There is a reason for that. Yin Kuan's heart shook. He was obviously afraid. What he was most afraid of was that something was about to happen. The alliance couldn't take it anymore. If it happened again, people would really die. Sect Leader Lin, what will the outcome be? Yin Kuan asked. He knew that the Tao pattern laws were getting thicker and the path to stage 8 had appeared. They were all cultivating and were just a step away from breaking through to stage 8. The outcome is hard to say, but it definitely won't be good. This isn't an internal battle, but a battle between us and the evil gods. You better move the people in the city's underground. If not, if a battle really breaks out, just the ripples will be enough to instantly kill them. Lin Fan thought about it. What were the evil gods thinking? If they really wanted to fight, then who was afraid of whom? Especially now that he had broken through to stage 8, his strength had changed. Even if the top evil god appeared in front of him, he wouldn't fear anything. This, Yin Kuan and the others looked at one another. It was a little difficult, and then he said, Sect Leader Lin, you don't know. It isn't that we can't move all the people underground, but it will cause chaos. It is okay in the short term, but if it drags on, it will cause huge problems. Can you tell us the exact time? If we know the exact time, it will be much easier. Although Yin Kuan and the others were in charge of the Alliance headquarters. But he wasn't completely lawless. But if they knew the exact time, then they would be able to explain the situation to the people. Hayes, all of you are so problematic. Lin Fan said and then thought about it. Forget it. Good people do good things. Leave this to me. I will broadcast it to the people. I will talk to them. Yeah. Yin Kuan looked at Lin Fan. For some reason, he had a bad feeling. Sect Leader Lin, let us do it ourselves. Lin Fan patted Yin Kuan's shoulder and smiled. Why? You don't trust me? Don't worry, I will definitely do it well. How about this? I am in a rush today. I will stay in your alliance for a night and arrange everything for you tomorrow. Since he came to this world, he had broken away from modern life. The living environment here was not bad. It was close to the original world, and the standard of living was much higher than the original world. Yin Kuan and the others looked at one another and then nodded. Then, we will have to rely on Sect Leader Lin's help. When Lin Fan left the Alliance headquarters, he only brought one person with him. It was the translator. He didn't understand the Alliance's language. At the same time, he asked for many Alliance dollars from Yin Kuan. Not long after Lin Fan left, Yin Kuan ordered the local departments to serve Sect Leader Lin well. He wasn't afraid that Sect Leader Lin would cause trouble, but he was afraid that the Alliance would offend Lin Fan. He didn't know what Sect Leader Lin wanted to do. But as the people reported the situation, he was stunned. Sect Leader Lin went to eat hot pot and then watched a movie. He then took a shower and called a technician to give him a simple massage before heading to the arcade to play a few games. Not only was Yin Kuan stunned, even Island Headlong Song and the others were stunned. Damn, was he telling the truth? Sect leader Lin actually came to the Alliance to play around. This is 2F asterisk king fake, right? Yin Kuan smiled. It seems like our alliance can last for a long time. Alan Headlon's song was stunned. What do you mean? Yin Kuan said. What else can I mean? Since sect leader Lin is able to blend into our daily life, it means that he recognizes us. As long as we don't go overboard, nothing will happen. Yeah, that makes sense. Alan Headlon's song and the others thought about it and felt that it was true. They weren't afraid that you liked the alliance. They were afraid that you weren't interested in it. To Lin Fan, truthfully, he liked living in such a high-tech world. It was probably because he was used to it in the past. The next day, Alliance headquarters. Sect leader Lin, everything is prepared. We will cut off all channels and shift the scenes here. Yin Kuan said. Then let's begin. Lin Fan said. He was a little eager. Yin Kuan nodded towards the person in charge. The person in charge then gave instructions. Instantly, everyone got busy. Every family in the Alliance was watching dramas. The sudden change shocked them so much that they nearly jumped up. Damn, it is the ending. Can you not do that? At the same time, the big screens on the streets switched their screens. They ensured that everyone could see the news. Instantly, across the Alliance, the citizens cursed and scolded. Slowly, they realized that the person who appeared on the screen was a little familiar. They had seen him before. Chapter 652. Damn, don't you think that this person looks familiar? He does. Familiar my ass. Isn't that Lin Fan from the Richlands? Our former alliance was wiped out because of this. Wah, he is so manly, I really want to give him a child. You are such a bootlicker. At that moment, the forum was in an intense discussion. They didn't expect that Lin Fan would appear on the screen. Some of them were nervous and felt like something bad was about to happen. Yin Kuan was talking to Lan Song and the others, and he had a bright smile on his face. Only the higher-ups of the Alliance headquarters know that sect leader Lin has a good relationship with us. Normal people don't know, but after sect leader Lin's speech, maybe most of them can sense that the relationship between the Alliance and Richland is slowly improving. Yin Kuan's thoughts were beautiful. He hoped that the change would start now, to create a beautiful and harmonious life. Cough, cough. Lin Fan coughed a few times to calm down the nervousness in his heart. His cultivation might have seemed really strong, but in front of so many people, he was a little shy. To Yin Kuan, when he saw how calm sect leader Lin was, he was obviously thinking about what he was going to say. He was filled with anticipation. Very quickly, Lin Fan slowly opened his mouth. Greetings, citizens of the Alliance. Don't you find me familiar? All of you didn't sense wrongly. I'm the Lin Fan who wiped out your former alliance. You can call me sect leader Lin. Simple and clear, straight to the point. Yin Kuan nodded. Although sect leader Lin's opening was a little shocking and it felt like he was bringing up the past, all of that wasn't important. What was important was what he was going to say next. The citizens who were watching the live stream were shocked. They were all thinking about what was going on. Damn, what was this fellow thinking? I won't say any nonsense. I just want to tell all of you that I will give you 4 days to hide underground. After 4 days, I will deal a destructive blow to the Alliance. Okay, this is all I want to say. Whether or not you believe me is up to you. Look at my face and remember it. I will look at all of you from all directions. Lin Fan said solemnly like he was speaking the truth. Rage points plus 11. Rage points plus 111. Rage points plus 999. At that moment, ocean amounts of rage points increased. Normal people or people with weak cultivation couldn't provide Lin Fan with rage points at all. But the Alliance had many experts. Upon hearing Lin Fan's words, their hearts were filled with rage and fear. Yin Kuan opened his mouth and looked at Lin Fan with his mouth agape like he had seen a ghost. Oh my God, what was sect leader Lin saying? He really wanted to head up and stand beside sect leader Lin to tell all the Alliance citizens not to believe what sect leader Lin said, and that he was just joking with them. What a pity. After Lin Fan absorbed enough rage points, he walked down from the platform. What do you think? Do you think they won't be hiding underground? Lin Fan laughed. Haze. Yin Kuan was helpless. Sect leader Lin, this, Lin Fan patted Yin Kuan's shoulder. Don't worry. How could what I said be true? I was just scaring them. Don't take it to heart in case you think too much and give yourself pressure. Yin Kuan didn't know what to say. He even felt like crying. This was a real act. They were the only ones who knew the truth. As for the ordinary citizens, they were probably scared to death. Why are you still standing there? It is definitely a mess. Send someone to calm them down and then bring them underground. I haven't solved my own matter, so I have to leave. Lin Fan waved his hands and left in satisfaction. Yin Kuan, what should we do? Alan Headlong Song was helpless. He didn't expect sect leader Lin to say such words. Although it was a good idea, wouldn't it scare the Alliance people to death? What else can we say? We can only let the local departments maintain order. At such a time, there might be chaos. If we face such a situation, we will suppress them and we won't let them off easily, Yin Kuan said, although he didn't see the situation outside. However, everyone who was watching the live broadcast was stunned when they heard Lin Fan's words. Lin Fan's strength was terrifying. Be it the Alliance 9-star generals or the normal people, they all knew about it. They really couldn't fight him head-on, and he was just too terrifying. Rich land. Imperial Dynasty. Lin Fan came to the Imperial Dynasty. This was the most luxurious city out of all the cities in Richland. Xiaoqi, come out and see me. Lin Fan floated above and shouted. His voice spread all around. The Imperial Dynasty was so huge, and he obviously didn't know which room Xiaoqi was in. It was much more convenient to shout than to find him one by one. Xiaoqi was dealing with matters, and he was about to collapse. If he knew that being the head of the Imperial Dynasty was so tiring, he would have considered it even if he was beaten to death. But he had no choice now. Even if he didn't want to, he had to. Suddenly, he heard the voice outside and was stunned. He felt that it was familiar, and then he remembered who it was. He got up and walked outside. Brother Lin was here. Brother Lin was his sister-in-law. They were related. A stranger coming to the Imperial Dynasty naturally attracted the attention of the Imperial Dynasty guards. They gathered together and charged towards Lin Fan. This was an important place, so how could they allow people to casually enter? When Xiaoqi saw a bunch of guards standing there, taking out their weapons to face Lin Fan, he immediately ordered everyone to retreat. Brother Lin, what matter blew you over? Is my sister back? Xiaoqi asked. Lin Fan landed on the ground. Yongla didn't come back with me. I came to find you because I have something to tell you. At that moment, the guards around knew who this person was. To be so close to the Emperor, it was only you City Lin Manor's Lin Fan. Let's go, let's talk inside, Xiaoqi said. Lin Fan nodded and walked side by side with Xiaoqi. To anyone else, walking side by side with the head of the Imperial Dynasty was an immoral thing. But Lin Fan didn't have the courage to say that. Hey, Brother Lin, you don't know how tired I am as the Emperor. I don't have any free time at all. If I knew that this would happen, I would have considered it. Xiaoqi grumbled. Lin Fan smiled. Isn't it easy? Your brothers are all waiting for your position. As long as you say that, they will fight to the death for it. Xiaoqi exclaimed, Actually, I know that I am able to do this safely because of Brother Lin. If not for you, I would have been assassinated. His brothers seemed to have a good relationship with him, but that was because he was just a prince and not the head of the Imperial Dynasty. Now that he was the head of the Imperial Dynasty, naturally, many people were jealous. If he died, then naturally his brothers would take over. Don't worry. With me here, your position will be stable. Don't worry that I will die before you. With my current situation, even if you die of old age, I promise that I will still be the same. Lin Fan said. Brother Lin, I'm still young. It is too early for me to die. Xiaoqi smiled. He then came to his usual resting place and told the guards to prepare tea. Very quickly, the tea was brewed. Xiaoqi asked, Brother Lin, what is going on? He knew that something that Brother Lin cared about definitely wasn't simple. Lin Fan drank the tea and said slowly, In a period of time, something huge will happen. As the head of the Imperial Dynasty, you are in charge of the people. You need to send people to move them from the cities to somewhere near the Imperial Dynasty. Xiaoqi was shocked. Brother Lin, The workload isn't light. Yeah, I know it isn't, but not all the cities have to be moved away. The cities near the restricted ocean have to be moved away. Lin Fan said, if evil gods were really coming, then they would come from the ocean eye. As long as he waited there and welcomed them, then they wouldn't be affected too far away. Okay, I will get someone to arrange it, Xiao Qi said. While Lin Fan and Xiao Qi were talking, the Imperial Dynasty's harem received the news. You cities Lin Fan came to the Imperial Dynasty and talked to the Emperor in the reading room. They all knew who Lin Fan was. Princess Yonla's husband, Martial Path Mountain sect leader. The Imperial Dynasty was able to snatch it back from King Wudong because of sect leader Lin. So one could say that if Xiao Qi decided to kill someone, the only one who could make Xiao Qi stop this thought was him. Thus, at that moment, many concubines purposely came to the reading room. To them, if sect leader Lin said that his concubine was not bad, then her position in the harem would be much higher. Brother Lin, my sister, and you don't have a child now? Xiao Qi asked. Lin Fan looked at Xiao Qi. You make it sound like you do. Xiao Qi smiled. I am not prepared to have child. You don't want one? Then, who will you give the throne to? Lin Fan said. Then he sized him up. I think your body is a little frail. Is it because you have too many harem matters? Xiao Qi said awkwardly. How is that possible? My body is great. Actually, if you and Yonla have a child, I will write a will to pass the throne to my nephew. This is my gift as an uncle. You really know how to be a good person. Your nephew doesn't care about the throne. In the future, he will cultivate with me. Even if he doesn't achieve much, he will at least be the second strongest in the world. Lin Fan said. But thinking about how Yonla wanted the child to be safe and far away from fighting and killing, that made things tough for him. Without strength, one would be easily beaten up. His head hurt. Xiao Qi looked at Lin Fan. Then, I can give birth to a niece and let her become the first empress. Okay, it is still too early. When the time comes, let's see if your sister will give it to me. Lin Fan said, but if your brothers aren't obedient, then send someone to tell me. Those who should disappear have to disappear. Xiao Qi patted Lin Fan's shoulder and didn't say anything. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.